It is September 10th, and we are live at the SYC Kansas event. And I'm Blair Blumenscheid, and look who I'm joined with. I'm joined by Spencer Robarge, a legend in SYC history. You're tied with the most titles, 12 titles, SYC titles. I think you picked up a couple here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah. I forget all the cities you won in because there's 12 of them. So, my apologies.
That's okay.
Spencer, welcome. So, you are
Thank you.
currently a student, you're a sophomore at Wichita State University,
hmm
and you are volunteering your time hanging out with the kids this weekend, right?
Yep. Just trying to see what everybody's got, and everybody's going to strike, hopefully. So figured I'd be here.
I love
So
it. I love it. Well, we have 144 bowlers that are ready to strike. They're just kicking off. And we've got two frames, or two lanes, I should say, that we're using today. 17 and 18 is our main featured pair.
okay.
And then we also can see 15 and 16 a little bit. It's kind of crooked. Bear with me. Camera angles. We're not ESPN folks. If you want to watch ESPN, I'm sure they have a college football game on that you can watch.
Technology's tough, you know.
It is.
I don't like it usually.
Yeah, you're not a big. I couldn't ask you to come in and set up a live stream.
No chance. No chance.
Now, but I could ask you, Spencer. Let's talk about this lane pattern that the bowlers are competing on today, and I can hand you a big one so you
Perfect.
could talk about that.
Yes.
So, how would you be attacking this short pattern? What's the length? What's the volume?
So the length is 38 feet. The volume is 27.1. And it looks like it's got that same little flat spot on the gutter that a lot of the patterns have had post-COVID. So I would probably find myself probably between 6 and 8 down lane.
Now,
The track
for
is
those who don't know, Spencer is left-handed.
yes,
So.
wrong-handed. The track in this building is pretty prevalent, so you can try to play the gutter, but if you've got so many flat boards, it's probably not going to work out. So probably between 6 and 8, maybe 6 to 9, somewhere in there, and that'd probably be where it's at.
I think that's what I heard most of the bowlers during practice yesterday. That's what they were attempting to do. So
Yeah.
I think that's the best strategy. We'll bring that lane pattern up from time to time, but let's see some bowlers and let's talk about some of them. So on 15 and 16, we have Miles Teller, Trevor Mason, who just picked up his first SYC title last month in Idaho, Miles Gordon, Joseph Parkins, Caden Kelso, Blake Glines, and that's 15 and 16. So it's a little mixture of U12 boys. I think it's all U12 boys, actually. So you get to see some U12s. And then on 17 and 18, we have Addison Cole, also known as Moo, Riker Emerson, Bella Castillo, Peyton Farnsworth, Danae Loomis, and Jordan Betchart. I probably pronounced your name wrong, Jordan. I apologize in advance. So you'll get to see Miss Moo throw a shot. She's really growing up. She's getting a little more on the ball. You see her.
Yeah, for sure.
Hands in a little better position.
Right.
It's the fun when they start to get older.
There's always that period of time where bowlers go from kind of just throwing it and 160, 170 to where they start making that turn towards 180, 190, 200, and when it gets to going on sport, it can get really fun to watch. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Our e-bowler who's up on lane 17, her name is Danae Loomis. She got in a car accident yesterday, and she's here bowling. So she has had quite the week. She came in off the waiting list. She's one of those last-minute calls, which happen at every SYC. We have someone withdraw for whatever reason, whether it's illness or anything, and she got in off the waiting list. And then last night when she was leaving from practice, she got into a pretty serious car accident, actually, and she's here bowling.
She's got the priorities in check.
Yeah.
Hopefully, her and her family's okay.
Yeah. No, she was just on her own. And she's all checked out. She went to the doctor.
Oh, okay.
They got her all, made sure she's okay, and here she is. So,
Well, there you
power
go.
to her. Like,
Yeah.
powering through. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Huh.
So, I'm not sure I could do that. It takes a whole lot of strength and
Yeah.
mental stability, or mental, what am I looking for? The word mental
Strength?
endurance.
Endurance.
There we go.
You're looking at me for a word. I ain't got it.
All right. So as the bowlers are, figuring out this is game one, how do you attack game one, Spencer? Do you go in trying to strike, or do you go in just trying to not destroy your day on game one?
I would say game one is probably the best game of the day to try to make a run.
Yeah.
Because everybody's probably, and that's for every squad. Every squad, you don't know what you're getting. So, like, if you're looking around the scoreboards here, there's not a lot of strikes.
No.
So, the people who can hit them this first game and continue that through on are probably going to end up pretty good. So, I would say try to hit them as much as you can.
Like it. So Spencer, last night we took all the youth bowlers over for a little social at Wichita State University, which is where you go to school.
It is.
You actually signed 1 year during the SYC.
I did.
You did your little big, I shouldn't say little, it was a big signing.
Yes.
And now the kids still get to go have some tours. How is your college experience going at Wichita?
I'm enjoying it. The schooling is really nice. They have a really great business program. My brother went there and got a business degree that he ended up opening a pro shop. So I wanted to go there because I knew that they had good degrees and they delivered, and the bowling's pretty good too. So
you guys have a pretty stacked team.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
So tryouts are going on right now for the team. And then when's your first tournament?
The first tournament's the 15th and 16th, if that's a weekend, and it's here at Northrock.
Oh, nice.
That's our first one, and then we start going all over the place for everything else. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you get a home tournament, and then you're off and rolling.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Which we are the defending champions at this tournament, so hopefully we can get our name engraved on that trophy that's as tall as me again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do too.
All right, so Miss Bella left a tough leave here. A little washout to start the morning.
It's tough.
Yeah. Bella is a past SYC champion.
What did she have?
Ooh, I think it's 2 or 3.
Okay.
Well, let me look it up while we're waiting.
Making you work harder. I'm
I know.
sorry.
It's okay. It's good. I should know.
Yeah, my eyesight's not that good.
Oh, you're trying to see her banner?
I was trying to find the banner, but my eyesight's not that good.
You know, maybe we should get you glasses because then you'll strike more in
No,
life.
I don't think I will. I don't think that's how that works.
Oh, man. All right, so Miss Bella has 3 SYC titles.
3. Okay.
And Addison she was on our All-American team, but she has not quite clinched a title yet.
Okay.
So she's come in the top 2, so she's still working on that first title.
Top 2 at the big tournament.
Yeah.
The big tournament. That's always a good one to do well in.
100%, yeah. And I see Jenny's watching. Jenny, we're missing you. It's always great to see your family, though. I think Dawson will come by in a few games, maybe. I think he's a couple pairs down. the left, the youth bowlers will be moving 2 pairs after each game. So you'll get to see most everybody throughout the weekend. We keep the cameras stationed here. We show as many pairs as we can, and then we let the kids move through, and we get to talk to them while they're here. I'm going to start pulling up some bios, too. See, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces, Spencer. Why don't you do some score watching? You see any high scores?
I'm looking around. There's D on 15 and 16 spare double.
Nice.
B is strike spare double, and F is strike spare double. So there's some bowlers that are, I would say, hitting them so far based off the scoring pace I'm seeing. That's hitting them. So,
love it.
And there's some scores coming on 17 and 18 too, but again, it's early. So.
Alright, let's see if Miss Jordan completed her bio. I do have a bio for Jordan as she picked. I jinxed her, but I thought she was going to pick it up. Jordan she's 13 years old. This is her second SYC. She's actually from Wichita, Kansas. Her home bowling centers are West Acres and Northrock. She is a 4-time winner for the Southwest Gold Tour. And she says that one thing that she thinks is pretty cool about herself is she's pretty level-headed, and she can stay calm during all situations, even if they're serious. Which I think is a pretty cool quality to have.
Especially as a bowler.
Absolutely. She wants to give a shout out to Brian Aldergen for coaching her, Michelle Betchart for always believing in her, and Dickie and Raylan from Southwest Gold Tour, the Youth Scratch Masters Tour, and Brian for coaching me and always supporting me. So some nice shout outs to her coaches and some great tournament series.
Yeah.
Southwest Gold Tour is one of the best in the country. You bowled that a little bit.
I bowled a few of them. I wish I would have bowled more of them.
Yeah.
It always seemed like the weekends that I was going to go bowl those, there was something else that I'd usually probably committed to prior. So.
Bummer.
But very good operation. They run a lot of really good tournaments. So.
Yeah, they're one of the Storm sponsored tours too. We love working with them, and we love what they're doing down there.
Yeah.
Checking for some more bios, but it doesn't look like. It looks like we need a. Oh, and I was gonna put these sheets out. What did I do with my sheets today? We had a little extra taping of the Ethernet cord this morning, so it took a little longer than normal for those techie people that needed a behind-the-scenes.
Not me. not me.
If Spencer had his way, we wouldn't even have cell phones.
Nope.
Spencer, why don't you tell our fans at home what your favorite music period is?
I like the 70s. I like middle to late 70s, rock and disco and all of that. Not the nonsense that everybody makes and listens to today. It's just terrible.
Spencer is an old soul, everybody.
Yeah.
If you didn't already know that, we're going to introduce you to Spencer's soul today.
Yes.
Spencer, are you going to be bowling any PBA events this year?
I'm planning on bowling the Masters in the U.S. Open.
Nice.
You
had quite the run at the Masters a couple years ago.
Yeah, I did okay.
Made a TV show.
Yeah,
okay.
I did okay.
People. Humble.
I'm looking forward to going and bowling the U.S. Open again. I made the first cut, but I didn't quite make it to the match play round last year, and they were difficult, to say the least, so I was happy with my bowling out there, so I look forward to going back and bowling on whatever they come up with for this year. So, but probably those two, and if there's anything close that doesn't conflict, I'll probably try to bowl those two.
I like it.
So, yeah.
Well, Mr. Miles Gordon is stepping up on lane 16. He's quite the bowler today, too. I think he's bowled a 300 this year in a city tournament.
Okay.
He's coming along, I think.
Well, that shot looks pretty good.
Yeah.
He's, I think the third frame he 8-1. I think that was a 210, and it wasn't. It doesn't look like you have to miss by much to end up with one of those circled numbers.
We don't like those circled numbers.
No, not usually. Not usually.
I do have a bio for Mr. Miles Teller on lane 15. He's 10 years old. This is his very first SYC. He's from Wichita, Kansas. Home bowling center's Northrock Lanes. Spencer, don't get jealous, but his favorite pro bowler is Jason Belmonte.
That's okay. He's pretty good.
He enjoys hitting. When we asked him, what do you enjoy most about bowling? He says, when the ball hits the pocket perfectly and the pins explode around the pin deck. It's a pretty good feeling.
I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I think that'll work.
He just bowled his first 500 series,
Okay.
which was a big achievement for him. And he loves playing golf, and he's really good at math. And he also started playing the trumpet this year. So he wants to say hi to his parents and little sister Jillian.
Well, now I know. Stay away from him on the golf course.
Yeah, don't mess with Miles.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a bio for Blake. Just bowled on lane 16. He's bowled a few SYCs. He's getting taller on me, though. That's what happens. The youth bowlers start growing.
Yeah, I walked in here yesterday, and I was feeling pretty good about myself, and then I looked around, and I saw that I was probably shorter than 75% of the people bowling, and I don't know, I just didn't feel as good about myself anymore, and yeah.
Wait till we invite you to help us in the award ceremony, and you have to put a medal on the U18 boys.
I'm going to need a step stool. I'll go over to Walmart and buy some milk crates.
There's some tall young men that are bowling in this tournament.
There's no Bud Sicard, though. Bud Sicard is a tree. I hope you're watching. You are a tree.
Bud is one of the nicest people, too. He was going to bowl this weekend, but something came up, and he couldn't make it, and we're missing Bud. He bowled in Idaho. And you know what's funny? Bud, when he was in the U15 division, he always looked so much taller
Right.
than all the other bowlers. But now he's in the U18 division.
It's leveled out a little bit.
It's leveled out a little
Yeah.
bit. It has. I mean, if he was next to you.
No, no. I don't think it's fair. I think that's not fair.
Yeah, that's true. So, on lane 15, you see another first-time SYC bowler, Mr. Caden Kelso, who, like Miles Gordon, is from Columbus, Ohio, which happens to be where I'm from. So, Caden and I did a little fist bump yesterday, but Caden asked the coolest question as I punched my microphone. Asked the coolest question yesterday in the seminar. He asked Frankie, or Francois Lavoie, he said, how did he phrase it? He said, how did you learn to be a pro? Which is like the most innocent way to ask, like, Frankie, like what did you do? Like, how did you, like, but it was just the sweetest, and he just, in the sweet little voice, and it was awesome.
I heard that. I wasn't out here for the seminar, but I heard that, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
It's a great question. And I talked to his dad after, and he goes, yeah, I loved it when he asked that question because I knew he was listening. I go, he was listening. Because this was not at the beginning of the seminar. This was like halfway through.
Right.
So he was into it.
Well, that's good. It's good that these kids are coming in here and listening to what the professional bowlers have to say and taking some of it and hopefully applying it to their game.
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
I think your observation that there's some OB to the right is very true. Because our friend Joseph Parkins on lane 16, I thought it was a pretty good shot. He just got it a little to the right, and it never made it back.
He's had a couple that have gotten to that zone that it looks like they're going to strike, and I don't know if they're just pushing a couple of feet too long. They don't look too bad, and they just push just enough to turn into problem spares.
He still has a 163 in the ninth, so I'd say this is still a pretty solid first game for him, but I'm sure he's not I'm sure he's wishing it was a little more.
Right. Well, give a strike spare in the 10th, 180. 180 is not a bad score to start out with. There's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to wish they had 180 after the first game.
100%.
Because there's enough of them that I don't think they're going to quite get to that score. So.
My girl Moo on lane 17 she is not starting with the game that she wants to start with either. I'm hoping she strikes here. She's throwing the gem. Looks like she might be moving a little to the right. It's a great shot.
Looks pretty
off her
close.
Hand. Great shot. Good shot. Just finish this game out. Move on.
Yeah. Now, remind me, the one that had the car wreck, what was her name again?
Her name was Miss Danae, and she's the letter E bowler.
Yeah, she's bowling good this game.
Yeah, she's bowling great.
I think she needed the first couple of frames to get settled in, but after the second frame, strike, 6 spare, 4-bagger, and her last shot was pretty good. So
just incredible. Way to go, Danae.
Yeah. She's in what? Is it U15 or U18?
She is U18 girls.
U18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's took a solid start for sure.
Yeah. Maybe make a little run at, a little car wreck, win a tournament,
Why not?
It evens out sometimes, doesn't it? Isn't that how it's supposed to work?
She did it the right way. I had a car wreck after winning a tournament one time.
Oh,
that was not the right way.
No.
If there's a right way to do it.
That's not it.
Yeah.
No. Well.
And we have some fans for Danae in the chat. Tiffany is cheering her on. She feels it, Tiffany. Keep cheering her on. I have to give Bella Love a little shout out for wearing a Team Shark jersey. Take that, Gary. I don't see any Team Tiger jerseys out here for those who watch the Morning Bowl.
Not a one. Not a one.
No Tigers, just Sharks, just saying.
Yeah. I think he's going to have to do a little more campaigning.
Yeah. Good luck. I wish him luck in his campaign efforts. Go Team Shark. That's all I got to say. Ooh, go ball. I thought Bella, I was not very confident.
That one was a little close.
Now, Spencer, you throw it with 2 hands, for those who don't know at home, but I don't know who wouldn't know that who doesn't know about Spencer Robart these days?
Everybody.
Whatever. So Bella is one of the young up-and-coming 2-handed girl bowlers that we've been talking about for a few years. I think we're getting closer
to
a young lady who maybe will compete in college or on the professional ranks. I really think it's in like sights.
I think so. There was a young girl that bowled the SYC here a couple of years ago that bowled 2-handed. And now, it seems like everything that you hear about youth bowling is I've heard Bella's won stuff before. I never really paid much attention to the other people bowling other than the ones I bowled against. So now that I'm not bowling anymore, I'm paying more attention to it a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems like her and a couple of other ones are winning everything and all of that. So
yeah, they're pretty good.
She must have a pretty good handle on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Bella has a very large Instagram following for anyone that is on Instagram.
Wouldn't know.
Bella is teaching other bowlers, or non-bowlers actually, about bowling through her Instagram channel, which I think is really cool, and bringing new people into the sport. So I'm showing, we're going to make 15 and 16 a little larger, and then we'll go back to 17 and 18 because they're finishing up their 10th frame. Mr. Miles
And that
Gordon.
is a 7-bagger.
Man.
That is the kind
Shake
of
it off,
game.
Miles.
That's the kind of game that you want to start with.
No kidding. I'm telling you, Miles is a super up-and-coming bowler. He's from Ohio, Columbus. He bowls all the JTBAs, which is the local youth series there. He's one to watch, for sure. Him and his brother, Elliot.
Okay. I don't think Blair is partial at all to the fact that he's from Ohio.
No, not at all. There you go, folks.
Yeah. Not at all.
And Blake's going to finish out a turkey here. This is a good game. He'll get up
190.
to 194. Oh, I jinxed him completely.
Hook.
And in case you were wondering, Blair's Black Cloud action is still in play, but he still got to 192. And Jenny, I know you're watching, Miss Moo. She got the first 2 in the 10th. She bailed out that game for 172. So that was
a good finish. Great
bailout there. And we'll watch Miles. Solid. 258. Ho hum. Miles, look happy. Come on, Miles. Oh, there's a smile. We got a smile. All right, we're back to 17 and 18, folks. So for the Danae fans in the chat, she finished with a 203. Great game.
Usually those games that you start with 18 in the second and you get out with 200, usually you end up pretty happy.
Yeah.
So that's a good game.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
You know, when you're playing the gutter, things like that can totally occur. It's Jordan.
I wish I had no clue what you were talking about.
Yeah. I've thrown it in the gutter a lot. It happens. A lot. Because I like to play the gutter.
Do you?
I love to play the gutter. If I could camp on the gutter all day long, I'll stay there all day. Happily. And
Me too.
And then move left only to the 8 board and never move any further.
I was gonna say, 12 is like the limit there, isn't it?
Oh man. If I'm throwing it on 15, I'm in the nosebleeds. That's why I enjoy watching these youth bowlers that are incredible. They're so good. So talented. Like yourself. I mean, we watched you bowl and I'm watching you and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go put my shoes up and never get them down again. They'll just gather dust.
No.
Oh, you guys are too good. How'd you get so good?
I just bowled all the time.
That's
all I did.
That is very common for, I hear that a lot from kids. They love to bowl. They'll go to bowling centers and practice a bunch. Why not?
Yeah.
Bella has very much grinded this game out. She had one turkey in the middle. She had some kind of splits and washouts and a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But she made her spares otherwise. And if she can spare this tough one, she will
get
have
to
a
180.
solid start.
Yeah, get to 180 and yep.
There she goes. I would expect nothing less. So Jeremy Combs is in the chat. Hello, Jeremy. I don't think you're here this weekend, but I did see Jaden this morning, and he started with the front 8. And Jaden told me that he came over and was watching some Wichita State bowlers practice last night.
Yep.
Might have been one like you.
Yeah. We came over after the
social
the party at Wichita State, and we bowled. They didn't run them afterwards, so we bowled on what was out there, and I want to say it was the medium pattern, and it's a good thing I'm not bowling because I would probably finish about 12. because I didn't strike very much.
Oh, man.
So,
Well, Jaden did. He had the front 8 this
yeah.
morning. So
Well,
shout out to Jaden.
there you go.
And he's also from Ohio.
Oh.
Go figure. All right, folks. We're going to take a really short break so the youth bowlers can move to their next starting pair. Spencer, thank you for hanging out with us
Thanks
to
for
start
having
the
me.
stream. You'll be back in. Don't worry.
It's okay. It's okay.
We'll be back soon with another special guest, and thanks for watching. All right, welcome back, friends. I mean, you guys were here, but we're here now to watch some more bowling. We have a new group of bowlers that are joining us on lanes 17 and 18, and 15 and 16, it looks like they're still moving down, but they'll be here shortly. So for this game, we will be watching looks like on lane 17 and 18, we should have Alex Crawley, Sebastian Vetter, Rhett Ryman, Caden DeBera, Trey Durflinger, and Christian Mooten, and Corvin Bush. And we do see Mr. Corvin Bush stepping up on lane 17. And he gets that strike. Very nice. And there's the young Durflinger, Trey. Quite the bowler. Crosses over, almost gets it to go. And, of course, we have our past SYC champion, Sebi Vetter. He has a very cool Facebook page for those who want to follow the youth bowlers on their journey. He shares his stats and how he does on the lanes and how good does he throw it. Traditional one-handed bowler, but has won a lot. He's won a PBA junior. He's won an SYC title. And Brett Cooper has entered.
How's it going, Blair?
It's going. It is going well.
Good.
How's it going for you? You've been talking to families this morning.
Yes, nonstop.
All right, so Brett Cooper, of course, is our regional sales manager in the Southwest region, right?
That is correct.
Yes, nailed it. I can't keep all the regions straight sometimes.
Yeah, there's quite a few, so I can understand that.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit already about the bowlers that are on 17 and 18.
Okay.
15 and 16 just started, so I'll introduce those bowlers. That pair has Rush Steen, Ridgely Potter Jr., Jamie Duty, Jacob Bianchi, Eli Fisher, and, this pair has Alex Crowley. I'm sorry, I said Alex Crowley was on 17, but Alex Crowley is actually on 15 and 16. You are going to watch Alex, just over there.
Okay.
It's a little, my sheet is a little confusing, but we'll figure it out. Young Rush Steen is promoting an upcoming tournament. It's a pretty cool jersey that they're going to wear at the Midwest Youth Event, which will take place in Iowa for anyone looking for a tournament.
It is a cool jersey.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so, too.
Yeah, it sounds like that's going to be a big tournament
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. There's a lot of bowlers that have already committed to it, but if you're looking for an event and you live in that Midwest region, check it out. So, Mr. Potter Jr., who's stepping out Ridgely on 16, he made the finals at Junior Gold this year. I jinxed him. Normally is very, very balanced at the line, but since I was talking about it, must have just known.
You trying to cloud him?
Apparently, yeah.
I mean, what are you trying to do there?
Should let them throw a few shots before I talk about them. I was just going to give him a compliment. He's really a great little traditional bowler, as we talk about.
He just moved pairs. You know, so he's in front of the doors a little bit, so.
There's a little humidity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always fun when you see young bowlers. Most bowlers that are younger now, they've perfected the two-handed game. So when you see bowlers that are kind of perfecting the traditional style, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, and there's a lot of two-handers.
Yes, there are.
And I was just watching the U18 over there, and I'm like, there's like 3 two-handers on that pair.
Yeah.
So, and they look like they know what they're doing too.
Yeah, you don't want to challenge them to the match.
No.
I've learned that from watching. I'm like, I'm good back here.
Yeah. James up on 16, huh?
Yep, Mr. James.
Yeah. Get a
You
little
jinxed
lefty out
him.
of. I did jinx him. I think I said something after he threw the ball.
Yeah.
So.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. That's fine. I'm not sure where our B bowler is. We're missing a bowler over there. Maybe they're just letting him even out over there.
Letting him catch up.
Yeah. One side struck a little more than the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's one lane that's harder. 15 and 16.
Could be.
I wouldn't know. The first game it was a little rough all the way around, but we had some newer bowlers. Although Miles just shot 250. I shouldn't even say that because Miles Gordon just shot 256 on that pair.
Oh, really?
So he had a rough start, kind of like these kids, but then he just got it together and was striking. It was like 8 in a row or something. It's nuts.
Oh.
Trey gets that one to cross over for a double. Take that on lane 18.
Seeing some urethane go down the lane, that's for sure.
Yes. Short pattern.
They're hooking.
Yes.
They are hooking.
I'm a little surprised because I'm a little surprised because I thought people might be playing a little further right than I've been seeing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have just already moved in and are attacking. I guess it's a little longer short pattern because it's 38 feet. It's pretty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seemed like in practice, though, when I was down there towards the higher end, that a lot of practice, everybody was playing out.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they probably burned something out. There's a lot. That was a good practice. So.
Yeah.
So they're starting to move in already.
Yeah.
So. Ins plus too, two-handers, a little bit higher rev rates down there.
A little bit. It might burn a spot a little quicker.
Yeah. Hey, even some of these kids down here.
No, absolutely. Yeah. You're not kidding. So Corbin Bush is off to a really hot start here on lane 18. He's got a turkey.
He's in the zone.
He is. There he goes. Jackson. You're welcome,
Way to go.
Corbin. Jeez. I should not talk today.
Unique release.
He
a little
does.
bit of, the backup two-hand.
Yeah.
So. Looks like he's making it work, though.
He is, totally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident that I will not jinx him, so I'm not going to talk about anything that he's about to do, and I still jinxed him. Here we go. The power is great. Let's do a big 17 and 18 for a little while, and then we'll go back to 15 and 16. A couple different camera angles today.
You got it all set up.
I don't know about that. I might switch some cameras in the break, but we're trying.
Spread them out a little bit, or?
We'll at least try to move this one down. I was busy taping Ethernet, so I didn't have a ton of time to play with cameras this morning. But let's see if I can pull up. We have bios too. I'm going to see if I can pull up any. We can just talk about Sebi being an awesome kid because he's bowled quite a few SYCs and he's very respectful all the time. He's always asking if he can help us with anything.
Nice.
Yep. Sebi is from Oak Lawn, Illinois. He just finished up on lane 18. You
Yeah.
saw him. His home bowling center is River Rand Bowl. His favorite pro bowler is Gary Faulkner Jr.
Okay.
And he has 3 SYC championships and a PBA junior regional win. So, and he always shouts out to his grandma Monaco, grandma and grandpa Vetter. He loves to shout out to his dogs, which I appreciate because I'm a dog fan.
You're a dog lover.
Let's see if I have a bio for Mr. Mooten. This is always the test if they filled out their bio. I don't have one, but I do remember him last night. Christian was playing pool. There was a very heated pool game going on.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a pretty good pool shark over there. We were down at Wichita State campus.
Did you notice the kids? I mean, it was cornhole, it was pool. I mean, it was. I'm like, these kids are like still competitive. They didn't want to let it go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Last night.
You do not get into the cornhole matches. I learned
No.
that at the SYC in Ohio. I immediately found someone to replace me because I'm like, this is very competitive.
It looked like it was intense. Yeah.
I'm like, I can't take. I can't take the heat.
Yeah, and one of the parents, a couple parents said they needed to go back to the hotel, and they were kind of upset. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. But I want to thank Wichita State again for having us, and they let the kids come and the youth bowlers. What's really cool about that is any youth bowler, any age, gets the opportunity to go tour a real college campus.
Yeah.
So even if you're 12 or 13 years old, you get to go out and take a tour, which at some schools you can't do.
Right.
But there's really no restrictions, and they get to, and it's kind of like it's not a real tour. It's like a little modified tour. If you actually are trying to go to the school, you take a very more in-depth tour.
Right.
But how cool is it that if you have a 12-year-old, you can take them out and show them, like, they can start thinking about, man, I could go to
Gets
a
their
school
mind
like
going
this.
for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
So, which is great. And that campus is nice too.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The facility was nice last night. So.
Yeah. And we have quite a few colleges here this weekend.
Yeah.
There's a school from Oklahoma that I just talked to the coach.
Okay.
He's here. He's trying to talk to some bowlers. It's a smaller school. And then, of course, next game, we're going to have our friend Billy, who coaches at Newton.
Newman.
Newton is where I live. That's my town of Newman University.
Gotcha.
It's still early, Brett.
Still early. You need more coffee?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm still drinking mine, but I'm close. Billy Murphy will be joining us, so I can't wait to talk to him. And he runs the pro shop here,
Yes, he
Wichita
does.
Bowling Supply, and that was busy all day long.
Yeah. Ask him what his new job title is too.
New job? He has a new
Yeah.
job? Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's got a
Okay.
little promotion, so
I'll talk to him. He's so humble. You have
He's
to kind
very
of
humble.
pull it out of him.
you do.
But even when I just walked in to ask him if he would come out and chat with me in Game 3, he was helping a bowler.
Yeah.
He never stops.
Never stops.
Yeah.
That
I
is
almost
Billy.
felt like I needed to apologize for taking him out of the pro shop for a game.
Well, he has Parker in there, so
That's true.
he's okay.
Parker's awesome.
Yes. Good shot there.
Really good shot. Yep.
Looks like they're starting to set in now.
Yeah, this is kind of what happened last game, too, where the first couple of frames were kind of figuring out that new pair you just moved to. Maybe it's not playing exactly how the pair previously was playing.
Right. And Blair was trying to cloud him on the first
I'm
ball.
killing it with the cloud today. Wow.
Oh,
Ridgely just left an unfortunate 8-pin.
no. Yeah, he did. That was a good shot.
And it was on a strike, and he is not happy
He's
about
not
it.
happy about it.
He's going to let him know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to switch over to 15 and 16 so we
Okay.
all can see some of the bowlers over there.
Yeah, and you can see Elliott up over there on 14.
Yeah. Oh, Elliott, his brother, Miles, was the one that just shot the 258, so
Oh, okay.
Elliott's chasing his brother. He's like, I'm not. You need to, I'll catch up to you. I'm sure they have a little sibling rivalry.
Oh, you would think so.
Yeah. Ooh, good spare by Eli.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing a Northrock Lanes jersey. Bet
Yeah,
he's
he is.
local. Let me see if I have a bio for him.
There's a couple of locals on that pair.
Oh, nice.
Because Jamie Duty is a local. He's becoming a pretty good lefty. I remember watching him last year and this year.
Yeah.
He's really grown.
Alex Crawley, who is on lane 16, is a past SYC champion.
He's got a cool little jersey.
Yeah, he does.
I wonder where you got that from.
I think that's the Black Label collection.
Is it?
Yeah. He's from Whitefish, Montana, as he gets that strike to go and a little
he's
fist
pumped.
bump. His home bowling center is Grizzly Lanes. His favorite pro bowler is Francois Lavoie, who's here this weekend.
Yeah, you saw him this weekend too.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
His favorite bowling achievement is winning the U12 boys in Iowa last year. He enjoys skiing, and he also is a huge bird lover.
Okay.
So he goes out bird watching in lots of different places, and he knows all the facts. Like, if you ever are bored, go ask Alex about birds.
Oh, really?
Because he will blow your mind with all of his knowledge. He also
That's
owns
awesome.
he owns 2 parrots, and he says it's like having 2 dinosaurs in the house.
Huh.
And he likes jiu-jitsu.
All right.
So his kids, not only are they good at bowling, but most of the time they have 4 other things they're really good at to make you feel really bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you're not doing anything in life. Because these kids today are unbelievable.
Yes. Yes. They got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Their minds are always going.
Yeah. I feel very lazy when I read the kids' bios.
Makes you want to step up your bio, huh?
I know, right? Like, I sleep and I work.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, so
Let's see what's going on.
it looks like I need to put up our 2s frames again because our scores are really happening on 17 and 18. These boys are striking. And Rush is sparing. I didn't think Rush thought he had that.
No, that's why he walked off that way.
That was my hint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're starting to strike.
Sebi says, no problem there.
Mm-hmm.
And Ridgely's figured it out after
Yeah.
that 8-pin. He's like, thank you, 8-pin. I would have had a turkey.
He's a little more solid at the line now.
Yeah, after I
Yeah.
jinxed him.
Yeah. He said, thanks, Blair, for getting that out of the way.
Yeah. I'm here to help. You know, Ridgely also, he was in a car accident recently. So he's also recovering from that too. Which another bowler last night was in a car accident. She was
Yeah.
on this pair. She shot 2-0 the first game. So yeah.
She's bowling this morning? We talked about that last night.
She is here
Wow.
bowling. Yeah.
That wreck looked just terrible.
Right. Yep.
Oh, no.
But she was on the live stream game 1, and you would not believe she was in a car wreck last night.
Really?
I could not do it, but
Yeah.
like I said, all the time, these kids are amazing.
Yeah.
Nice bear by Rhett.
Mm-hmm.
I wait till the pin falls before I say it.
Sorry, I saw that.
Jamie's got a high backswing.
He does.
I like it.
Yeah. He gets
Yeah.
on it. I like it. He's a
Yeah.
little lefty. I'm lefty, so
Feel it.
I've been watching him. He's a good little kid, too.
That makes it even better.
Yeah.
Full package. Good bowler, good kid.
Yeah.
That's most of
He
these
hangs out with
kids.
Austin Bowles at the other bowling center and
Oh,
in the
nice.
shop and tries to, gets all the knowledge from him. So
Nice.
every time I stopped in there every once or twice, he's always in there bowling every day, I guess. So.
That's cool. So Jacob just did what we saw the first game. There is definitely out of bounds. They're hooking, but you cannot get the ball going too quick to the right either.
Right.
'Cause it's not going to recover.
They have some hang.
Yeah.
And as we see, there's more and more plastic balls going down the lanes. People shooting spares, everything else. So, they're going to have that little bit of a carry down.
100%. Yeah. Rush just threw a nasty spinning mess.
Yeah.
Did you say it was like a kamikaze, like up from above pin.
Ooh.
Trey got that a little too far to the left.
Yeah, he did. Another solid shot right there. He's like, thank goodness that he went down.
Yeah, right? It's a double from Ridgely Potter. Trey gets the spare, no problem.
Oh, look at that little zen.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Eli's making it look pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the Zen a lot today, actually.
I have too.
And urethane, but
Yeah.
and then big balls like the gem. I've seen a couple of gems go down the lane too. So
Yep.
there's a little bit of everything. Bowlers are choosing to throw a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. I think Brady struck, and so he had to run down and tell everybody else.
Brady in the bowling science
Yeah.
kid needs the high fives. I
Yeah.
understand. So this morning, I don't know how early you went down to the hotel lobby, but Leanne and I were leaving pretty early. I mean, we were down there like 6:30, and Joss and Mateo and Brady were all down there, and they have so much energy in the morning.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like, they wake up with all this energy. I'm like, can
Were they down there playing pool?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And Joss and Mateo apparently woke up extremely early today, like 4 o'clock, and waited until about 6:30, 7 o'clock to come to the lobby. But I wish I don't. If I could bottle up that energy, I just want a slight amount.
Yeah. That was a nice spare.
Really nice pair by Alex.
Mm-hmm.
He's just coasting along.
Yeah.
He's got
Seems confident, though.
Yep,
He's got his swag going.
he does. He had a little double, little spare, bits of water. All right, so Greg wants the bowlers on the big screen. Well, if I do that, we lose 1 lane. So I'll show 15. Actually, I'm going to show 17 and 18 first because they're going into their 10th grade. And then I will move over to 15 and 16 shortly. But you can still see 15 and 16 a little bit.
Right.
And you also see Brady, the bowling science kid, just striking.
Striking.
He's striking a lot right now.
Yeah.
He's really
Yeah,
striking
4 in
a
a
lot.
row. Yeah.
And going for his high five. It must
Yep.
be a lucky high five.
It must be.
Yeah.
You know, when you start striking, you just kind of keep with that same routine.
No kidding.
You don't
mess
you don't
with anything.
deviate from that.
Nope.
You make sure to go right back at it.
100%. See, there's that spot. Caden
Yeah.
got it to that spot just to the right, and this is not how Caden wanted his game to go.
Yeah.
He had a really great start to the game, and then he just ran into a little bit of trouble. But just get 3 here, Caden,
Yeah.
and then maybe reset and strike out.
That was kind of the first one he really got further right than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really tricky because if they get it in, it's going to hook a lot.
He wants to hook.
Yeah.
Duck hook. So.
You got every bowler's favorite over under.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves to feel like they
Yeah.
have a very small window.
That's why they
Looking
feel like
for
they need
area.
either a stronger ball to get, so it evens it out a little bit, especially on a shorter pattern, or maybe like a urethane
Totally.
to kind of control the lane.
Good shot by Trey Durflinger on lane 18.
We're bowling through this quick. First couple games,
They
right?
are going quick, yeah.
I feel like it is.
It goes really fast, and we are bowling 5 games today. This is on the short pattern.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come back after lunch. They'll bowl 5 more games on the medium pattern. Come back tomorrow, 5 more games. That round goes really fast. You blink and it's over. And then, after it's all over, the champion trophy is awarded to the bowler who is the most consistent across 3 patterns and knocks down the most pins. There's no match play. It's just simply
total pins for all
simply
3
total
patterns.
pins on all 3 patterns. And we do award medals for each round too. So if you have a great round,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be rewarded. But
Perfect.
the SYC really is looking for consistency. So that's what I always tell kids. It is the cool thing. It is looking for consistency, but you also, if you have a bad round, the event's not over for you, right? Like, you may be out of the overall race,
Right.
but each round you could win a gold medal.
Yeah, which is cool.
And you can get back closer to the top. So I think it's a really cool format, I think. I think the kids like it.
Yeah, they have a chance for, each pattern they bowl on, they have a chance of winning something. Even if some of the kids in mine struggled this morning, they're going to come back this afternoon and reset. So
yeah, and then our awesome hosts at Northrock here, they are a newly Bolero center, and our friends at Bolero and the PBA Junior, they have a new scholarship that they put into play this year. It's called the Never Give Up Scholarship, and it's available on Sunday. So the winner of each round on Sunday, that person that takes home the gold, they'll also get a scholarship from PBA Junior.
Oh, nice.
And so it's really encouraging kids, like, yeah, you may have had a really rough Saturday, but if you come out and have a great round on Sunday, you'll get a little bit of scholarship money, and you'll win that PBA Junior scholarship.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah, I think it's really cool. Friends at PBA Junior are awesome. And they've got a lot of events too now.
They do.
They're doing regionals. They're doing national events.
Yeah, they just had one in Euless, a PBA Junior tournament.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
A few weeks ago, yeah. So.
All right, so Sebi Vetter finishes up with a 230. Awesome. Great job, Sebi.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Really great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be high on these pairs that we're watching.
Yeah.
Oh, we have Miles Gordon. For those Miles Gordon fans that may still be watching, we have on lanes 21 and 22,
yeah.
which is just off camera, but you can see the ball going down lane 21, just to the right. He has the front 10. Is that down there?
Yeah.
I know we could turn the camera, actually.
11.
Brett, if you want to go up there and just shift the camera a little to the right, we could see it. All right, so Brett is, he's moving it so we can see that last shot. Yep. Good. Yep. So you're going to see him, all the bowling has stopped. And you're going to see him step up here. There he goes. This is for 300.
Oh.
It's all right. And you probably
Pretty
hear
cool.
in the background a big round of applause. There's a lot of hugging and everything going on down there.
Very cool.
Yeah, so. Yeah, well, we watched him the first game. Leanne just said he was on 21 in a row.
Yeah. That's a lot of strikes.
He shot 250 something
Yeah.
to the left, and then he went down there. Yeah. There's lots of things going on right now.
Yeah. All over the place.
Yeah, if you want to.
I'll move that back.
Thanks, Brett. We're going to move that camera back so we can see the finale of 17 and 18. Brett, you're hired. You're officially hired as my assistant camera person.
All right.
All right.
That was exciting.
That was exciting. It's always fun to start with a 300.
Yeah. 20,
So
you had 21 in a row.
21 strikes in a row. Miles, Spencer was in the booth this first game, and he was making fun of me because I might have a soft spot for the Ohio Bowlers, which Miles Gordon is from Ohio.
Oh. I can see
Brett
now.
has the same reaction.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Miles Gordon's a great little bowler, though. I have not mentioned Ohio State once today, people. I'm just letting you know.
Are you sure?
Well, I just did, but
Yeah. This is just game 2.
until
Okay?
that
We
moment.
still got a lot more games left.
Yeah. Well, when the game starts, that's when things really start happening.
Oh, that was Brady.
What's Brady got going on over there?
He can strike out for 258.
All right. Brady's like, don't worry, I'm still here, friends.
Yeah.
Ridgely didn't like that shot.
No. He throws it good.
He does throw it good. He just moved into the U15 division, I believe.
Okay.
Let me just double check.
He's from Florida?
He is
correct?
from Florida, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, just moved up. He just he made the finals at the Junior Gold in the U12 division. And he just moved into that U15 boys division. So that move is tough.
Yeah.
I think and Frankie said this yesterday in a seminar. We were talking about, I asked him, I said, talk a little bit about that move from collegiate bowling to the PBA side of things, because that's always a big
It's a big
shift,
step.
right?
Yeah.
But he actually said that he remembers when he was a kid that it was hard to make the moves in age divisions too.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot with these kids too, like kids that are winning in the U12 boys or U12 girls. They make that move up. It takes them a couple years to really start
Kind of
winning
get comfortable and get that confidence again.
Yeah.
Balling against, newer kids and
Exactly.
everything else. And so,
No, it's not true for everybody. Some people just will, move up and win.
And then, yeah,
but
act like nothing's going on.
Right. They're like, so what? I moved up.
Yeah.
No problem. Big deal. Big whoop.
Exactly.
Nice strike by Jamie.
Yeah. Brady ended up with 248.
Still a solid game.
Yeah. Very solid.
Maybe
some high scores out early. Very nice.
They're here to bowl.
They are. They're on it.
For those watching at home that may be asking, how do we find the scores? Well, our friends at Bowlmetrics are official scorer of the SYC, and you can head to bowlmetrics.com and see relatively live scoring, because we get them up pretty much before the next game is over. Maybe I'll do a score update at the beginning of next game. I don't like to do it now because some scores are in and some scores are not. So it's like it gets a little
You want a couple games
tricky.
in. So yeah.
But I'll be reading and it'll be it's like updating as I'm reading. I'm like, all right, no, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
We completely jinxed Ridgely this game. Ridgely, it is our fault.
Hold on.
100%.
Hold on. That's on you. That's not on me.
Ridgely had the most solid 190 game. Like, he worked hard for that 190. Splitting the 10.
Couple bad breaks.
Shake it off, Ridgely.
Yeah.
You'll
be fine.
You're leaving the black cloud curse of the live stream and moving on.
Yeah.
Michael McLaughlin in the chat says that he misses these tournaments. We miss you too, Michael.
When do you have Frankie coming in the booth?
Oh, I don't know. He's hovering though.
I know he's hovering.
We should let him know. That,
Yeah.
Oh, he's chatting with the bowler.
Yeah,
all right.
He's helping out.
Okay. I think next game will have not like so. Next game is Billy Murphy.
Right. So game 4.
Game 4 is what I'm thinking for Frankie, and then we'll have to figure out game 5.
Okay.
But
Frankie had a good seminar yesterday.
He had a great seminar.
Yeah.
He did awesome.
All the questions and everything else. And he did well.
I thought so too. Yeah.
He said he doesn't really like to talk, but he didn't show that yesterday.
No, he was good.
Yeah.
He's very to the point. So it's not like his questions, when he's answering a question, he doesn't go on and on, which I
Yeah.
like because it's
Yeah.
like you don't have to search for his answer.
What was the one? How to become a pro?
Yes. Yeah, we had Caden who asked that question on the first game, and I said, that's the best question ever.
Yeah.
I love it. How did you learn to be a pro? It's so innocent, but so great. Jeremy is saying scores are crazy. Jeremy?
They are crazy.
They are crazy. I agree. Jeremy's at home watching. We miss you, Jeremy. You can hang out with us all day, though.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Just have us in the background. Pop in every once in a while.
Yeah.
We'll be here. All right, Mr. Eli. He got the first one in the 10th. He's on a double. Completely clouding him.
Yeah.
It's really cool
Please
jersey.
strike.
Yeah.
Please. Oh.
No strike. No chance. I clouded him. But he has a super cool jersey.
I
He's
think that
repping
Blair
Northrock.
might be getting kicked out of the booth here soon.
I know. Well, Jeremy, who's watching, is going to be like, Jaden, when you come to the live stream pair, ask Blair if she has another job to do.
Yes. See if she could step out for a minute.
Go find something for Blair to do.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, though, the Northrock, and then there's also the West Acres. They have some cool jerseys.
They do.
Yeah. Of course, the official jersey partner of the SYC is I Am Bowling. And Kenny and Kathy are here this weekend. And
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have Ken Keegan step in at one point to talk about what's new and happening in I Am Bowling. They've always got stuff rocking and rolling.
You see all the gear they got back there?
It's amazing.
They got a lot of cool gear.
Yeah.
Sweatshirts, the new thing I started seeing back there.
Hoodies.
Yeah.
Hoodies are all the rage.
And you see us wearing coats. It is a little chilly when you're just kind of standing in the back in Northrock.
Yeah, I've taken my coat on and off about 12 times today because when you're doing something, you don't need a coat on. But when you're not doing anything, you need a coat.
Wait, so we need to take our coats off because we're doing something, okay, here?
Yeah. Yeah, Jeremy just said, this is good. Jeremy said, at this rate, we're going to need you to go watch the Ohio State game when he's on that pair. I'm in.
There you go, Jeremy.
All right, we're going to watch Alex finish up. That was a big spare by Alex. I was worried we jinxed him, but he figured it out. He overcame.
Yeah, or did he? Is he not?
I think he's doing a little ball change, maybe.
Is he?
I hope. Alex, did he not pick it up? No, he picked it up.
I think he,
Did it bounce out or something?
I think he went and asked his mom to go get another ball.
Oh, okay. All right, we're having a little fill ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they said ball change, so I think.
It's hard to navigate
waiting
a little bit in this bowling center.
Yeah, here it comes. We've got a little ball change.
Because even as our friend Corey mentioned, this bowling center was built before people had multiple bowling balls.
Yes.
So sometimes you need mom and dad's help to go get a ball.
And it's always been when I've bowled here or other people's bowled here, they always say it's a little bit more high friction.
Oh yeah.
So.
Alex, let's not change to that ball.
No. No.
All right. 187 for Mr. Alex. We will be right back with another guest. Brett, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thanks for being here this weekend.
Yeah,
for sure.
no problem.
All right.
Love it.
We'll be back.
All right.
So,
All right, welcome back. I am joined by Mr. Billy Murphy from Newman University.
that's right.
How's it going, Billy?
It's going good.
Good.
Going good.
Good.
Got a lot of action here in the bowling center going on with a bunch of talented young people, and it's always fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. Now you have so many hats. I don't know how you even like that. Like there are not enough hours in the day for all that you do. So. Not only do you own and operate Wichita Bowling Supply, although your guy Parker back there, he's
Pretty
awesome,
good, right? Yeah,
he's amazing.
great.
Like
Yeah.
I saw him at the Matchmaker, and then I saw him working pretty hard yesterday too. And I'm gonna turn on the bowling too. But so you own and operate that business, small pro shop operation,
Yep.
nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. Then you work at Newman University.
Yep.
You have been the head coach for many years, and then you just added a new hat. You were just telling me about it, right? Director of Development at Newman University.
Yeah, they've decided that I've been there long enough that I needed some more responsibilities, and we're really excited about it though. Athletic department's been growing in a good way, and basically my job is to go out and develop relationships with possible donors that want to support the athletic department. So I've only been doing it for 3 weeks, and I have seen a lot of information over that 3 weeks, and I'm very thankful that I have Parker in the pro shop because he's been doing a great job. But very excited about the opportunity to help Newman grow.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, you definitely deserve it because we've known you for several years, and you're always so hardworking, and you're great to talk to because we send a lot of families to talk to you about college, and it's a stressful time when families are trying to pick where their youth bowler is going to end up, right?
Yeah, the recruiting process is it's an interesting part of the job.
Yeah.
And the best part is as far as how I have handled that, we're big on fit.
Yes.
And so we want the athletes and their parents to know that their child is going to go to a good place.
Right. Safe and be happy and have a good community. Yeah.
And especially a parent that it's their first one that's going off to college. And now in bowling, there's so many choices.
It's unbelievable.
The growth of college bowling has been amazing. And just handling all that, and then you're talking about the financial part of it, and that's a big part of that piece. And parents, it is tough. We have a couple kids from Hawaii that are on our team.
Wow.
And moms that are sending their young ladies and young men halfway across the country.
Literally.
It's
a long flight.
It is, and it's a big deal. But they once they know that they're in a good place, and the student athlete is communicating that they're comfortable, it eases the pain.
I think it's such a I'm not a parent myself, but I think it's such a hard thing because you want your child not to miss you and to be completely happy and safe and not need you. But then I think emotionally that's hard too, right? Like you want them to miss you. It's a very hard balance that these parents have to handle, and so
we try to do a really good job of one of our Zachary Smullen, a freshman this year, and his dad's here, and I asked him this morning, I was like, how's mom doing?
Hey, mom's in the chat.
Oh yeah, nice. Hello.
Yeah. I bet mom is. That's a hard one though.
Yeah.
Zach's such a good kid.
He is a great kid.
Yeah.
Good family.
Yeah.
I do think with all the spaces that you can communicate with, through FaceTime and Zoom, and
that helps so much.
It's helped a lot with still being connected to your family. So
the update is mom is crying face times 3.
Oh Lord.
Robin, hang in there. It gets easier, I think.
Well, Zach told me that she was coming up for Mid-States that we're hosting in a couple weeks.
Oh, good.
So that'll be great.
Yeah. So the bowlers in front of us, we're showcasing 17 and 18 first, while 15 and 16 kind of gets underway. But Jaden Bowder, who was just up on lane 17, his brother just went away to college.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to Mrs. Bowder before I came back in, and Josh is here, the older brother, and she said, this is the first time I've gotten to see him in 5 weeks. And she's like, I'm just so happy to see him.
Right.
So I think it is, this is the hard part for both sides.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Yeah.
So as a coach, obviously you're focused on getting the kids acclimated too. What is the parent side like? Do you try to keep them in the loop and communicate like the upcoming tournaments and how the season's going?
Well, honestly, part of the coaching thing is helping kids grow and evolve. And so we really expect our athletes to communicate with their parents.
Yeah, like they're doing it.
Yeah. One of our parents created a Facebook page so the parents can communicate.
Yeah.
Who's going to this tournament, who's going to that tournament.
Yeah, but it is the kids' job. You're right.
Yeah, it's once they get to college, we try to treat them like adults.
As they should. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think because, I know how I was when I was 18. I'm like, I didn't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah. But we also, we try to keep them busy. And, we have practice 4 days a week right now. We started a thing this year. We're having a classroom session, and we chose a book, Mind Gem, which is pretty popular. And we're all reading it together.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then so in this classroom, we bring them in. And when you're with a coach for 4 years, sometimes you're hearing the same things through instruction. So we just chose to start doing this book. But it's more about the athletes being engaged and talking to each other.
Totally.
Our coaching staff has kind of decided we ask some questions just to get the conversation going.
Right. And let them talk.
But then they're talking about it. And honestly, it's been great because we're getting a lot of honest answers.
Yeah.
To what, like right now, just the Mind Gym book is a pretty positive book about how to control your mind in certain situations. And, we're finding out what all the stressors are because one of our goals this year is to try to get the athletes away from those stressors and just more focused on the process because whether it's right or wrong, the scoreboard can create a lot of evil in our minds. So we're trying to take their minds away from the scoreboard and just kind of worry about execution.
I love that. Yeah, that's the one thing that I think it's pretty common when I'm talking to coaches because I think a lot of bowlers, if maybe we're watching some juniors and seniors, right? That's when the heat really turns on, right? Like it's like, okay, and especially if there are coaches walking around the building, right? Or at junior gold when coaches are walking
when
around
there's
the building.
150 of them.
Yeah. So I think the one thing that a lot of college coaches have told me is when they're walking around an event like junior gold, you're not totally looking at the scores, right? You're mostly looking at form and function, right? And seeing, and then how they're handling it, right? Too. Yeah.
Yep. We're when we have meetings with student athletes at junior gold, like if they didn't bowl well that day, that's the first thing they talk about. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you saw me on my worst day."
Yeah.
Right. And my answer to them always is, "I don't even know what your score was." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "I don't really focus on that.
Yeah.
I'm watching execution, and more than anything, I'm watching your body language, facial expressions, because those things are so important in what we're doing, but also in the team part of it.
Right.
Because one person's, if you have one person that has bad body language, that turns into 6 or 7 on the team having bad body language sometimes. So.
And it's harder to coach that, right, than it is the form. Like if we talked to bowlers yesterday. Francois Lavoie did a really great seminar, and he talked so much about the mental game. Really, and a lot of his game, he really focuses a lot on the mental game because, and he talked about it. He's a lower rev rate out on the PBA tour right now. And so he has to overcome a lot just because of that.
Yep.
And I think so much in the last few years, people do focus on teaching kids about that, but it's so important because that is really that's the hardest part of the game.
Francois is one of the best examples of how to handle your business behind the foul line, probably in our sport. I mean,
yeah, you never know what's going on in his head.
That young man, I mean, he was sitting there shooting 300 on TV at U.S. Open, I think.
Yeah.
And you would have wondered if his heart was beating.
He talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
He actually said that same thing. He goes, a lot of people thought that I wasn't nervous, and he goes, I was so nervous.
Yeah,
if you were in my head, it was as nervous as you could be.
And he just does such a great job of controlling that. And we watch him bowl in league here in town. He's everybody loves him. He's Chase Crumley, my assistant coach, son. He coaches Chase.
Oh, that's cool.
He does an amazing job. But you just don't know if he's shooting 150 or 250 most of the time. So, but it just stuff like that is what the coaches are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
The team part, our sports at the high school, middle school levels, it's so individualized. So when they're coming to college play and it's more in the team, it can be a hard transition because your mindset's just so much different.
I love that. So obviously the season this year has kicked off.
Yep.
You have tryouts right now. Is that what's happening?
We do for the men.
Okay.
Our women's program is going to the NCAA competition. So our structure and how we do things is a little bit different because the girls, we can't have full practice until October 1st.
Oh, that's interesting.
You can have some skill development 4 hours a week with the ladies.
Okay.
So the tryout process takes 2.5 hours the way we do it each day. So we can't really do that with them. So they're really in skill development and just kind of getting ready for October 1st when we can go full force. But yeah, the guys are in tryouts. And
so can you do like team building stuff with the girls right now, or is it still just kind of?
Yeah, you can do some stuff
like dinner and stuff, get them all together and let them get to know each other.
Yeah, we really we want them to hang out. So they've just been having an activity each week where they get together.
Yeah.
Like we all went to the volleyball game last night, which was great. Our women's volleyball team played an incredible match, and the student section was going nuts.
That's great.
And it was so awesome that our kids could be there for that too. But yeah, they once a week, the entire group goes out and does something, whether it's dinner or a movie. They had game night a couple weeks ago at one of the players. So yeah, we try to do that. Plus they get to do the classroom session that we do. That's part of their 4 hours.
Great.
So,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. And I think it's we'll talk a little bit about how people can find out more about Newman, but I think the one thing, since getting to know you run a program like parents want kids to go to, right? You want them to feel like they're part of a community, and there are activities, and you don't want them to feel like they're alone.
Yep, absolutely.
And finding a place like that is what kind of you do at Newman, so I think it's great. And do you want to talk a little bit about just where you're located? Because there might be parents that are watching later that might go, "Hey, this sounds great. How can I find out more?"
Yeah, no, it's a liberal arts college in Wichita, Kansas. We're on what would be the west side of the river that runs through the city. Our enrollment is usually, publicized numbers. You'd think we were a little bigger school. It says there's 2,500, but on campus, traditional student, we usually have anywhere from 800 to 1,100, just kind of depending on the year. So classroom sizes are 17 to 1.
That's great.
When you get into your classes as that you're majoring in, they're usually around 8 or 9.
That's amazing.
Students, and so it is very I like to think about it as it's pretty comfortable learning.
Yeah.
You're gonna know your teachers.
They'll know you.
They'll
Yeah.
know you.
Yeah.
Which if you don't go to class a couple times, they're gonna know you're not in class. So,
Yeah.
but it is from a learning. I tell the story all the time. When I walked into Wichita State, my first class on the very first Monday was an English class that had 267 people in it. And I was just like, I am never going to get to talk to the faculty
No. Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
And
I went to a school like that too.
Yeah.
So, because I went to Ohio State. So
Yeah.
when I hear something like 8 or 9 students at the end,
Yeah.
and I hear kids a lot that are looking for smaller
Yep.
environments. So your school, like Newman, this is the place.
Yeah, we get back to that fit thing again.
Yeah.
Right? And there are kids that thrive
Totally.
in the big campus.
Yep.
And there are other students who really probably need the smaller classroom.
Yeah.
And I was one of those kids,
Yeah.
and I had a great experience at Wichita State.
Right.
But academically, I probably would have been more successful
Right.
at a smaller college.
Yeah.
And part of the growth in college bowling, the NAIA programs, Division II programs like our school is, they're just smaller institutions, but the growth of college bowling has come from those areas.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's just been great because it does give the student athletes a little bit, more options to choose between the big school and the small school.
Yeah. And I just think it's great. And exactly what you said, like you meet kids, no one is the same. No person
Yep.
is the same in life. No person is the same when they're a youth athlete. And finding the right place is what's most important. Like, you know the schools, right? You've heard of Wichita State, Weber International.
Yep.
Like the kids know these schools, right? But I think it's important to realize there's hundreds of schools out there. And on the girls' side especially, if you have a young lady, like there's so much scholarship money out there.
Yep.
And even on the boys' side, like, if you have really good academics or even like, good academics, like there's scholarship money out there from schools that are smaller based on your academics. So
yeah, it's the growth. When I first came in to collegiate play 19 years ago, I think there was 46 NCAA programs and somewhere in the neighborhood of 120 maybe collegiate programs, men and women. This year, I believe the NCAA programs are going to be over 100.
It's incredible.
And they're up to, I want to say, I haven't looked at the numbers in a while, but I mean, it's 280 programs across the country.
That's amazing.
And with the growth of youth bowling through spaces like Junior Gold, the SYCs, there's just so much opportunity for them. But a lot of them do look at the bigger programs.
Yeah, sure.
Because they're just more visible.
Well, and you've heard them. You've heard of those programs. But I think what you said is so important, like knowing your kid, right?
Yep.
And sometimes it's a hard conversation because, kids think they know what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They do. But sometimes it's like, let's think about school. Like my parents had to talk to my sister about this because my sister's I love my sister, but she's a musician.
Oh, yeah.
So school wasn't always the priority there. And then her brain, like, she just has a different way of processing things. But she drives me nuts because she's never on time. A schedule's like, what is a schedule with her?
Mm-hmm.
And so my parents really sat her down and talked to her about, like, hey, you're not going to go to a big school. Like, this is not, you'll get lost in it. You'll just, you're not going to do your work. You need someone checking up on you. Like, and so she's at a smaller school and she's thriving, which is great.
Yeah. No, it's just for each young man, each young lady, it's just different.
Yeah.
But, on the flip side of that, it's still their journey.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
I had a young man in my office yesterday that is in bowling the tournament, And I, you would just ask a lot of questions because you're trying to get to know someone,
Right.
and you want them to ask questions. And he did a wonderful job
Yeah.
of communicating. Sometimes the parents, you do more talking to the parents,
Yes.
and it really should be the young people having those conversations.
100%.
So my last question was, do you have a timeline on choosing a school?
Oh, yeah.
And he kind of looked at me, and I was like, you don't have to. You
Yeah.
don't have to have a timeline. I said, buddy, this is your journey.
Yeah.
So if you want to, pick a school and sign in 2 weeks, we got to wait till November
Yeah.
9th for the signing period. But if you want to wait till next April, it's your journey.
Yeah.
So it really is. The whole process is interesting, but there are different reasons to pick, big school, small school, but every young person should get the opportunity to do that.
Well, and I always say this too, and I try to say it when I have a coach like you, Billy, because you're one that you'll talk to anyone and help them through.
Yep.
And I don't mean that in a bad
Yeah.
way, but you're just like one of those people that you're going to help people.
Yep.
You want to help people. You want to get them to the right place, even if that isn't your program.
Oh, yeah,
Like
no doubt.
you just want them to be happy and great. And I tell parents all the time, because getting started sometimes is the hardest part. But just ask questions,
Yeah.
right? Like find someone like yourself or any of the other coaches that may just be in it to help.
Yeah.
And they'll help you get to the right place.
Well, and that's a totally interesting. Like we just try not to put pressure.
Yeah.
There's enough going on.
Yeah.
And I don't say it every time with every student athlete, but there are many times, whatever your choice is, just give me a call.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be
just let
mad.
me
I'm not
know.
going to be
Yeah.
angry, and I'm probably going to root for you
Right.
when you're not bowling us.
Yeah.
Alyssa Ballard, right?
Yeah. You've known her since she was a kid.
Oh yeah. I've been friends with that family forever. And through the recruit.
Because you're a pretty stellar bowler yourself
Well,
too. Yeah. You don't talk about it, but
once upon a time. And we were talking to her, and I could just I sensed a little bit of she didn't want to let me down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you're like another dad to
Yeah.
her. Totally.
And I told her, I was like, hey, I'm not sure you realize, like, I'm going to be your biggest fan.
Yeah.
Even if you go somewhere else.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
When I see her at the next tournament, I'm going to hug her just like I have. She chose to go to Vanderbilt, which, Vanderbilt's a pretty good school.
It doesn't.
Last time I checked.
It's not terrible.
She's going to get a great education
Yeah.
and have a wonderful experience through the bowling program. And, but when we bowl against them the first tournament, I'm going to be right there and give her a hug just like I always have. And
well, and I think that's what people may not always realize, but the thing is, the last thing a college coach wants is for a kid to choose the program and try to make something fit that maybe isn't right.
Yeah.
Like you try to make a major fit, you try to make something fit, and they're unhappy. Then you have an unhappy kid.
Yep.
And that causes more problems.
Absolutely.
So I think that the college coach is with you trying to figure out, hey, is this the right fit?
Yep.
Right? It's not, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of moving parts, but exactly what you said. I mean, there were, when I bowled in college, you become friends with kids on other teams.
Absolutely.
Your coach becomes friends with other coaches.
Yep.
And then that coach is rooting for you. And at the end of 4 years, you have this whole little community. And just like you said, like I was hugging all the college coaches when I was graduating.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's so much fun. It's, if you have a kid that wants to bowl in college, let them do it, because it's you can't ever have that again in your life. Like
it's lifelong friendships.
It is, yeah.
And you after college, you get spread out. But
Totally.
But then you're bowling the amateur tournaments. Some guys go professional.
Yep.
You're seeing them, but then at some point you don't get to see them all the time.
Yep.
But Brad Kazuski, who was a senior when I was a freshman, he's from New York area.
Yeah.
If I ever have a conversation about him, like, he is a friend. He is a lifelong friend. and I knew him for 1 year in collegiate play. But he was a guy that kind of took me under his wing and
That's
kind of
cool.
helped me learn about college play. I can go down the list. I mean, Chris Viale, Chris Soule, from the East Coast. There's just I'm really good friends with a lot of the athletes from Fresno because Coach Preble and I are good friends.
Right.
It is a lifelong thing, and college bowling is an incredible experience.
It is, and the kids are so lucky. They're so lucky to have it, and I'm very happy that it's growing, and I'm happy. I was just talking to a parent yesterday that it's really cool because we watch these kids bowling, right? And we have some stellar kids in front of us. Garrett Andrews, he's just picked up a PBA junior title,
nice.
And now he's going to the nationals. Connor Anderson had the front 7 in front of us, but these kids bowl, and then they go to college and they bowl, and some will choose to go professional, like you talked about. But I think what's really cool about college bowling and what we're seeing more is more kids also are getting really great majors, getting really great educations through college bowling.
Yep.
And now they want to come and work in the industry, which is great. And I'm not sure. I know that people in the past did want to work in the industry, but I think in 10 years, it's going to create more jobs in the industry because of college bowling too, which is great because kids want to stay in bowling. And it's so positive all the way around.
Yeah, honestly, I think one of the coolest parts about my job is watching kids graduate.
Yeah.
And whatever they choose to do after that, we've been lucky enough to have a couple good players come through the program, and they could have gone on and bowled professionally if they chose to, but their academics took them to a place where right out of college they were getting a really good job offer, and they're like, struggle out on tour for a couple years, take this job where I don't have to struggle.
Right.
And so they chose to take the job and start life, and
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like I tell kids all the time when they're little, like, you want to be a pro bowler, and that's great.
Yep.
And let your kids want to be pro bowlers.
Absolutely.
Like, let them dream, and then they'll figure it out along the way. They'll figure out, like, oh man, I had one of my really great friends. She wanted to be a pro bowler all the way through. She went to college. She didn't have the best college experience. She graduated. She still wanted to go out on tour. I went with her for a few stops because I didn't want to be a pro bowler, but I like bowling.
Yeah.
And she realized really quickly she hated travel.
Yep.
And she came home and she's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to. Now, kids today are a lot luckier because there's so many tournaments to travel to.
Yep.
These kids are getting a taste of it now, so they'll know earlier whether they like travel or not, and or they'll just get used to it, and it'll just be part of what they do. But that's a big piece. If you don't like to travel, you probably are not going to end up being a pro bowler.
Yeah, it is. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
I wasn't out on the national tour,
Right.
but just going to bowling regionals and all that stuff, and I love travel.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's part of my gig.
Yeah.
But it's such a. It's a good life, but it's hard life, and
it's a different life.
You have to want that.
Yeah. And she likes seeing her mom once a week and going out to dinner. Like, it's and that's okay. Like, there's really nothing wrong with that. And some kids learn that in college. Like, they'll go really far away, and then they're like, wait a minute, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I love being with my family. So it's.
Yeah, and the interesting part of that with the coaching side, right? Transfers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Just the transfer portal, all the stuff that is in every sport.
Yeah.
That conversation for a young person to have with a coach, which I have had those.
Yeah.
And you get a year in, and kids had a good year.
Yeah.
And things are going good. They're good academically, but they'll come in and. I mean, you can tell that they're afraid to have that conversation.
Yeah. Right. They're afraid to admit.
Yeah.
They made it's almost making a wrong choice, but it's not, right?
It really isn't. Yeah, I mean,
it's just making a choice. Yeah.
And a good coach will, they'll say, "Hey, coach, I've had a good time here, but I need to be at home."
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And the answer should always be, there is nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not.
And if they want to go to another school, same thing.
Yeah.
You as a coach, you want the athletes that are in your program to be in a good place.
Right.
And they leave programs in every sport for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah. And it's okay.
And it's always okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think, but this has been really great insight. I hope parents who are watching, it's like we started. We know how hard the process is.
Oh, yeah.
Like I when I hear a parent tell me that they're entering that junior and then the senior year, really, if they haven't made the decision by the senior year, that senior year of or high school might be the most emotional year ever. It's just incredible. Like, it's so stressful. It's just, yeah. So parents hang in there.
Yeah, and just it's amazing how many kids are signing early now.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to think about it. There's the rest of their senior year.
Yeah.
And that's been a big change from the past because
Yeah.
it used to be. I mean, you didn't even sign kids till February.
Right.
And so I think kids they're starting to get more ahead of the schedule just to make life a little easy. So there's not as much stress their senior year.
Yeah. I wish I had done that. I made my decision in May.
Oh.
Was that kid? My parents and I were like, can you really? It's at this point it's May. Are you going to college?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. When you're, it is tough.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do think kids jump ahead of it. Yeah, as soon as you can. And
there's a lot more. I mean, like we were talking about, there's a lot more access to the coaches.
Oh, totally. And junior gold. I mean, junior gold. I know that you're out there every year.
Yep.
You're hanging out for the long days and everything. But the day when all of the coaches are set up, I talked to some coaches this year, and they said they were busier than they ever have been this year. And the families are younger and younger that are coming up and just asking questions like, what should we be doing when our kid is 12? What should we be doing when they're 14? Like, is it too early? So
that is the most asked question.
Yeah.
When should I start reaching out to a college coach?
Yeah. When do you like them to start reaching out?
Well, it's different now that we're NCAA.
Oh yeah,
you are on the women's side because for some reason they have rules.
Oh gee.
Crazy, right?
I know.
But the rules are there, in place for a good reason.
Yeah.
On the guys' side, we can pretty much talk to them whenever they want to. Can't sign them until after they start their senior year. But I don't really have a preference.
Yeah.
I want to talk to them when they are ready and comfortable to truly start seeking out that process. Because, I get emails of kids that are graduating 4 years from now all the time. When you're 13, do you really know what you're going to study in college?
You don't. No.
And because what you're going to study, what you're truly going to want to be for lifetime. When you're 18, you think you might know, and you get to college.
And it changes,
and
right?
you take some classes, and you're like, man, I really love doing that.
Yeah, right.
Why did I choose this other thing?
Yeah.
And you just switch over and do it. So.
Well, I think that's important too. Like what you just said is, and I'm a culprit of doing this. Realizing that it's okay to make a change.
Yeah.
All through life, right?
Yep.
Like you do not need, if you have a school in mind when you're 12 or 13, or if you have whatever you're focused on, it's probably going to change, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And just embrace it, and don't get frustrated or overwhelmed and feel like you were wrong.
Yeah.
Like you just change. Like people change.
Well, and this is said to me all the time, and I repeat it to others. but there is only one thing we can count on in life, and there is going to be change.
Yeah, right.
And it's okay for that to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's just part of the process.
Right. And the earlier that you can figure out that change is okay, the better your life will be.
Yep, no doubt.
Because it will be changing.
Yep.
All right, so 17 and 18 is finished. We're showcasing 15 and 16. Our bowlers stepping up stepping up for the 10th frame. Samuel Calderon.
Yep.
We've seen him for a few years. He's local here, right?
He is local player.
Super nice kid.
He is an incredible young man.
Yeah.
He's gonna go to Wichita State. He's gonna be. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be in their engineering program.
Awesome. He's super smart.
Which means he is super intelligent. And he's out of our youth program. I've known him for a long time. He is an incredible kid.
Yeah.
I know he's got some international experience too. I can't think of what country he bowls for.
Yeah,
at the
I
moment.
should know this because I remember it from the last time.
Yeah.
Was it Puerto Rico?
No,
it wasn't Puerto Rico.
I don't think so.
We'll have to ask him. He is a great kid, and we saw him last night. I saw him in his Wichita jersey because we had that social last night, and he. It's always fun to see the kids, whether they're wearing a Newman jersey or whatever school they pick. The first time they have it on and they're talking to people in that jersey, they look a little like
the pride. Yeah.
Like,
yep.
It's awesome. Like, they're so happy.
Yeah, we're. I think October 10th we have our picture day where we suit them all up, and it's always a good day because they get to be silly and they want them to do action shots and all this stuff.
That's fun.
It's just a fun day.
Yeah, and they get to feel like little celebrities.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome.
Always a good thing.
And I think the one thing that Samuel figured out pretty quickly is the kids that have been bowling against you all along. They really start. Not that they didn't look up to you before, but when you're in college, really look up to you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more comfortable. Like, I was talking to a youth bowler today, and I asked him, I go, hey, have you taken any campus tours yet? And he goes, well, actually, I'm calling my friends that go to the schools, and they're taking me on tours, like unofficial tours or whatever.
Awesome.
But I think, don't forget to do that. Like, if you know someone at a school, let them show you around, because it's good for them, and it's good for the bowler, too.
Yeah, and he's getting ready to make the transition from youth player at Northrock Lanes to bowling at Wichita State, and the 12-year-old young man that's in our program is going to see him in a different light. Yeah. And that's one of the cool things. Our youth director here, she started one of her leagues is a big and littles. And so the high school kids bowl with younger kids, 2-man teams, and so they get to bond.
I love that. That is so great.
Yeah, and our older kids, I mean, they love doing it. Yeah. It's a great program, but he's going to see that even more now.
Yeah.
Now that he's doing that, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up Northrock Lanes, which we're so happy to be back in Northrock, and Northrock Lanes actually contributed some scholarship money to the tournament this weekend.
Excellent.
So they're one of the sponsors this weekend, so we really thank them. They did a little Smart Funds transfer. And
nice.
So some of the kids will be, they make the scholarship fund better, which is just great for everybody. So
yeah,
you have a great program.
Yeah, Bolero just bought the 3 bowling centers here in town, and
you guys are in a little bit of a transition, but
and
it seems pretty seamless.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to have several conversations with Jeremy, district sales manager, and Donnie, who is Donnie's over 37 centers or something like that. I can't even fathom that.
It's amazing.
But our conversations have been wonderful. They want to support tournament bowling and league play, and just keep helping the sport grow. So it's been fantastic being a part of the new group, and just looking for a wonderful future.
Yeah, I think that we've had the same relationship with Bolero and we love what the PBA is doing for the PBA Junior.
Absolutely.
And there's so many opportunities, and I'm really happy that Bolero is creating some of these opportunities too. It's great.
I look back to when, a couple of years ago when I was a youth player and compare it to now. Like, we took one trip a year. There was a regional tournament that kind of moved around the 10-state area here in the Midwest, Southwest. We went to Texas and New Mexico.
Yeah.
And we would bowl a state tournament, and that was it. Right?
Yeah, and you're like, now you look at these kids and you're like, oh my gosh, they're traveling once a month.
Yeah, but the programs that, like we were talking about, SYC Junior Gold, PBA Junior, the opportunities that the young people have now, it has propelled the growth of our sport and the industry. So, I'm pretty positive. So I see all of that as helping our sport long term and building those lifelong bowlers too. So, the youth opportunities right now are it's spectacular.
Yeah, it's kind of staggering. It's and working in this sport, it just feels like there's constantly, there's a little bit of growing pains in some areas, but most of it, like you say, is totally positive.
Oh, yeah.
And everything is happening to create more opportunities for the kids that are kind of pushing us all, all of us adults, to figure it out and give them the opportunities, right?
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah.
I feel like you're on the road
a little bit
every weekend.
It has been lately.
Like, I open up Facebook, they're in South Dakota, they're in North Carolina.
You know what's so funny is we haven't been live streaming that long, and all of these youth tournaments, and then some of the adult tournaments. Like last week, we were out in Vegas for the Las Vegas Open, which is run by Jamie McWilliams, and he started a junior division.
Oh, nice.
And so there's everybody is just trying to say hey, we just want bowlers to bowl. Just come out and bowl. That's all it is. So it's there's so much out there. So it's just really cool. Yeah.
I think about it, I was like, man, I would love to have been able to do that, back then. But it's just so great that the young people have all these opportunities. The fact that this tournament sells out in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
It's great.
I watched the feed of you guys when you were in the office, and I was like, well, this show's not going to last very long.
No. And the first time Gary did that, we're like, what do you mean you're going to live stream it? It'll be the shortest live stream of all time.
Yeah.
So, but it is, everybody that's not inside of something, and you'll know this, working for the college, working on some of these bigger tournaments, it's very easy we have a lot of people that say, it's rigged, or it's you guys aren't doing something or whatever, and we're like, no, it literally sells out. We literally turn it on and it sells out.
I was talking to a couple of parents yesterday at school, and we were talking about, I was talking about the SYC and just, if the student, if their student was ready. And I was like, so what is your strategy to get entered into that event?
Yeah.
And the mom goes, it's just up to the fastest typer.
And that's, I feel terrible even saying this sometimes, but I'm having these conversations, and I'll have parents tell me, I'm not getting in, and I'm like, well, maybe do a typing test and figure out who's the fastest and give it to them.
Yeah.
Let them do it, because I don't think I would win in this game. I was actually, it's funny that we even bring this up, but I was buying concert tickets a couple of weeks ago. I don't really do that ever. And I called my dad, because he does it all the time for my sister.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, I don't know how to do this. And he's like, I got you. And he bought my tickets. And
that's awesome.
I paid him, and he figured it out. And I'm like, I will not have an ego in this.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you with my typing skill set that I would have never been able to get entered. because my hunt and peck method of timing, takes a little time.
Yeah. Well, and that the other tips that there's a few tips we tell people, right? So, and this has burnt us a little bit because we say, have more than one person trying to enter, right? Mom and dad. And if 2 people do get in, we immediately do some refunds that day. So we'll have some people that will get 2 entries. They don't get 2 entries. They get refunded. And then we also have, if you're on the waiting list and you're local to where we're going, like there were a lot of kids that were in Kansas that maybe didn't know about it or got on the waiting list. And we got pretty deep in the waiting list to get people in. We usually get down to 20, 25 spots just with that many. You sign up for a tournament 2 months in advance, and then your school has a function that the kid can't miss.
Something comes up,
right? So it happens every time.
Yeah. If you're a family that has more than one,
oh man, that is now.
You just set up a row of computers and put one person at each one and just start firing.
We do have some sibling spots. So if you are trying to get 2 bowlers in, we do try to look on that waiting list because like I just said, we have some immediate refunds. So it's full, but then we have some duplicates. So we do try to look. If you have a younger sibling on the waiting list, we try to do that first. Or if someone calls us in a panic because they got 1 kid in. And it was funny. I had someone I knew. He was trying to enter his first one. He called me, and I've never heard so much panic in his voice because he got the younger brother in, and the older brother was the one that actually wanted to bowl, and they had 3 people trying to get the older brother in, and he didn't get in, and like total panic stricken. I'm like, it's okay. We got you.
We got you.
We have we understand the sibling thing, and we understand if a brother is bowling and the little brother's in the back, they're miserable. So we try to take care of you.
Yeah. I think the other thing the SYC has created, I think I heard you say there's student athletes from 27 states this morning.
27 states.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And the travel, they got to love it.
Yeah.
Right?
And we have 27 states and 31 bowlers that have never bowled an SYC before.
That is awesome.
So there's 144 bowlers here, but there's 31 that are brand new to the tournament.
Yeah, that's super.
And I would even go down because we see some of the bios, and I bet there's another 20 to 30 that are first or second time. So they bowled 1 other SYC and they're only bowling their second. So there is that. People are like, oh, it's always the same people bowling, and it's not. There might be the same people winning.
Yeah.
Because it's that consistency thing.
Yep.
Like, sometimes when Spencer Robarge was bowling, he was hard to beat.
He's still hard to beat.
Good point.
And he's in the adult world, and he's now hard to beat.
Yeah.
He's another one that's pretty good.
He's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the cool part of that process is like, the older kids go to college, and that opens up new spots for that to happen.
100%.
Because a lot of those college athletes are now in college and doing their thing there. So it does roll into where it is able for you guys to get the younger kids,
totally.
in there. So
we always have a new wave coming through. It's really fun because when we have new U12 families coming in, they're brand new, right? So we're getting to know them, right? And then when they're in that U15 group, we kind of know them. Those families have been with us for a few years. They come and go, based on where the tournaments are. And then they're starting to get in the U18, and we find out where they're going to college. And we still follow where they're going because it's fun to watch the kids grow up. But we were talking the other night. The SYC started in 2017. That was the first time that it happened, and it really was created to build some friendships, to build some communities, and to be a training ground for junior gold. Because we looked at it like, okay, let's take a weekend. They bowl on 3 different patterns. They might not see this challenging of a pattern back home. And most of these kids want to bowl junior gold in the summer, and they don't have these opportunities. So let them come out and bowl and see what they need to work on.
Yep.
Because the end goal really is junior gold for the kids, right?
Yeah.
But when it started in 2017, we're starting. Last year we graduated one of our U12 champions,
Nice.
the first
Yeah.
SYC ever. But I think this next 2 years we'll graduate all those kids
Yeah.
that were in that first tournament,
Yeah.
and that's crazy.
Well, I go back to building relationships within our sport, right? And our community
Yeah.
for long-term growth, right?
Yes.
And I was having a conversation with Gary last year,
Yeah.
and the older kids were coming up and giving him 5, and
Right.
just Gary doing what he does,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But then he would have a story for me on every one of those young people.
Right.
And I just thought it was incredible that his memory was so great.
Right.
I mean, he knew every kid's name.
Yeah.
He had a story to go with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's, what is great about what's going on in all youth stuff around the country is watching the U12 division is almost one of my favorite things.
Hands down.
At
Yes.
Junior Gold at SYC, because they're competing.
Yes.
But the social
They're having so much fun.
aspect of that group,
Yeah.
I mean, they're just down there giving high fives.
Yeah.
They're not even watching bowling unless they're up. They're
Yeah.
just back there having conversations,
Yeah.
probably about gaming or,
Yeah.
whatever it
Right.
is. And they are the entertaining part of watching that social part
Yeah.
it's just awesome.
Well, what's so cool about the SYC is Leanne does a really good job of trying to keep the lane assignments the same throughout the weekend, but she also tries to keep them in gender and age-based pods. So you're spending a lot of hours together because it's 15 games. You're bowling with the same group of people, so you kind of get to know each other.
Oh yeah.
And then what's really cool is they meet each other here, and they'll go on to bowl in Junior Gold, and they'll see a buddy that I bowled with that bowler in Kansas, and I really got to know him. So it just makes those bigger tournaments feel smaller because I know I'm going to hang out with people, right? So
it puts them in a more comfortable space, and get back to that creating less stress.
Yeah,
right.
That's all it's all about.
Yeah.
So.
And don't get me wrong, I like watching the older kids too.
Oh yeah, I get you.
But that U12 division is so much fun.
I think I say the same thing. I love watching the U12s, and I think that for me, and I'm sure this is similar for you, it almost takes you back to when, bowling gets a little frustrating in life.
Sometimes, yes.
So when you're watching these U12 kids that really, they're competing, like you said, they're trying to be competitive, but they really are here having some fun too. And it takes you back to that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. I can't remember this young man's name, but he was here last year.
Yeah.
I think he's out of the Chicago area.
Joss.
Yeah,
Joss Weaves.
Yes, Joss.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I had so much fun watching him bowl last year.
Yeah, he's out here this year too.
Is he?
He's in the U15.
Okay.
He's actually
nice.
a couple of pairs down. He is still as much fun to watch.
Yeah. They told me he had his own YouTube channel and all this stuff.
Do you know what he's done since? I don't think he had it last year. Since last year, he has released his own rap about bowling.
Really?
Yeah, you can look it up.
I'm gonna have to look that
Yeah,
up.
he has his own brand. It's Black Unicorn, and
Nice.
he has I've never heard a rap about bowling before, but he has a whole video, and
That
it's
is
on
incredible.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it's pretty fun. It is fun to watch, but I do need to let you get back to work because, unfortunately, I could talk to you all day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're having a good time.
I know. We could have you back in this afternoon, actually. I'd love if you would come back in because you bring a lot of insight and there's more that we could talk about. But like we said, Billy's out here. He has a million hats, and I told Brett, I almost feel bad taking him from the pro shop because he was talking to bowlers and making them better, and I'm stealing him and bringing in him.
No, it's okay. I probably should give Parker a break though,
He has been working really hard. You have a good one on your hands there.
He called me last night, or I called him, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "I'm doing great." I go, "Are you about ready to get out of there?" And it was 8 o'clock, and he's like, "You're kidding, right?" And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I still have 8 more balls to draw. I'm gonna be here till 10:30." And then he was back before I got here this morning. So he loves doing it.
And he was one of your bowlers, right?
He was one of our bowlers.
Yeah.
He just graduated last year, and he's a little more full time for us in the pro shop.
Yeah.
And he is just a kid that has been drawn to the technology part of our sport. He did last year. He needed at a small school. We don't offer the classes every semester.
Yeah.
So the class he needed to take, it wasn't offered his last semester. So what we do in that case is we create internships.
Oh, cool.
With various businesses in Wichita. And so his faculty member said, "Well, you're working in the pro shop, right?" And he's math major.
Yeah. Okay.
And he is sick. Amazing math guy. Like, he just like that, right?
Yeah.
And so his faculty let him do an internship in the pro shop on the technology.
Yeah.
And so he got his presentation together and he gave it to me, and I was like, "You are giving this to our group." You know, we had Matt McNeil come in 2 years ago and give a presentation. And so we just made that part of his internship.
That's awesome.
The faculty member came to the presentation that he gave in front of our athletes. And at the end of it, the faculty member had stayed because he wanted to talk to Parker more about what it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I went up there and I was like, "Hey, what'd you think about that?" And the guy's like, "I had no idea that there was that much to a bowling ball." And I'm like, "Yeah, just over the years, technology has gotten." But his presentation was incredible.
That is awesome. Well, we're glad that Parker, like I said, I mean, Parker was in here. Parker reminded, I was like, "Man, Parker, you could work for Storm," because he was in here like before the matchmaker. He showed up probably 2 or 3 hours early. He's in grabbing tables, bringing tables out, getting everything ready. And then he was in the pro shop, and then I came back later because we had taken a cart and we're dropping it back off, and he's still working. I'm like, "Man, you're great, Parker."
Yeah, do not steal him from me.
Okay, I won't steal him. All right.
At least not yet.
I'll let you have a few more years.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Billy, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and go give Parker a break.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Man, we like him.
Yeah.
We want to keep him.
Yeah, we got to let him breathe every once in a while.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll have you back real soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. So that was, of course, Billy Murphy from Newman University. So we'll have him back in. If you're ever in this area, be sure to say hi to him. And I'm going to try. I have a Francois Lavoie sighting. I'm going to try to flag him down and get him to come in. So hang tight, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back, and I am joined by Francois Lavoie. Hello, Frankie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
We were saying such good things about you in the booth, both Billy and I.
Yeah.
You said you don't like talking, but you did an unbelievable seminar for the kids yesterday. So
thank you.
It was great. I think you gave them a lot of insight, and I think Billy said earlier, he goes, if you want to watch a person in the sport that demonstrates great mental game, they should watch you, because you really, whenever you're bowling on TV or whenever you're bowling, no one knows what's going on in your head, right?
Yeah.
It's probably not great things, but
sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but I don't want anybody to know.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job at it.
Thank you.
All right, so our pairs got off. So 17 and 18 is finishing game 4. We got some good scores there, 227. Some bowlers are figuring out this short pattern.
Yeah, I think especially in this age group, you're going to see some higher scores.
The U18, that is, yeah. Mr. Noah here, he's in the 2-0 easily on lane 18. And then Keegan on lane 17, also in the 200s. Should look at some scores. You've been walking through. What have you noticed so far today?
Overall, I notice a lot of talented kids from every age group. Just walking around, you see a lot more two-handers. That's been the trend. I think that's continuing. You see some two-handers, especially on the younger side. Seeing a lot of two-handers, and they're good too. They're good. They're creating a lot of power at a young age and moving some pins around. With this age group, you're seeing more experience. You're seeing more shot making. Still pretty impressive. There's a lot of people that throw the ball really well.
Yeah. So if you could do it all over, would you bowl two-handed?
It's funny you asked that. I used to when I was young because I started so young. That's how I bowled in the beginning, and this was before Belmo and Oscu really came around. Nobody had ever really seen anything like that. So when I turned probably 8 or 9, there was a lot of pressure back home for me to switch to one hand, and that was the process, right? If you're a kid, you can start with two hands, but eventually you have to switch, and that's what I did. So I don't know what would have happened if I kept going, if I kept bowling two-handed.
Right.
I'm not saying it would have been better or worse.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're a 2-time U.S. Open champ, so
yeah,
it turned out okay.
Certainly did. It certainly did. Yeah. Although there are some times where I wish I could generate a little more power.
Yeah. I think I've read some bios today, though, for some of the bowlers, and actually it was funny because, you know, a lot of the younger kids, you see the same bowlers mentioned over and over, right? But there was a young two-hander, just moved up into the U15 division, and his favorite bowler was you.
Oh, nice.
Which was pretty cool, because usually the two-handers are kind of favoring two-handers that bowl like them, but I thought it was really neat that he was he liked you better. So there you go. That should make you feel good.
That's really cool. Yeah, it does make me feel good.
Yeah. I think if anyone wants to teach their youth bowler accuracy, they should follow you, because you're always pretty accurate.
I try to be. I have to be. I don't have the power, so what I lack in power, I have to make up with accuracy and spares.
Yeah. And our friend Del Ballard, who sometimes pops in the chat, is going to love that you just said spares, because that's what he's always preaching to the kids.
Yeah.
Spares matter.
Not just the kids. When Del was traveling with us on tour, that's what he said all the time too.
Yeah. That's true. It matters all the way. See, kids, it's not just you. Mr. Trey on lane 16 gets that one to go Brooklyn. I don't know if it's true across the boards, but these pairs that we've been watching since the beginning, there's definitely friction inside, and then there's a hang spot to the right, and then there's friction to the right. So there's a lot of, it's quite the puzzle that they're bowling on this morning.
I think the part of the tricky thing with these tournaments is you've got everybody following each other, so that you've got a mixture of U12s and U15s and U18s, and so if the tournament was, if you had a block of lanes only for the U18s, they would break down much differently than they do now.
Right.
And if you had a block of lanes only for the U12s or the U15s, they would break down differently as well. So that's, I think, what's making them a little trickier, because you won't see a lot of the U12s necessarily use as much urethane as the U18s would. You won't see them burn up the front part of the lane as much. So, and then as the U18s follow them, they haven't really created what you might expect from a U18 bowler. So that's making it tricky, and I think the topography at Northrock is tricky too.
Well, you bowl here a lot, so you can speak to that. Yeah.
Well, sometimes. I actually don't bowl here as much as people think.
Okay. All right.
I usually practice on campus at Wichita State.
Oh, nice.
But I have bowled. I have obviously bowled here a couple of times, and the topography, the gutters are kind of sloped down a little bit as you get towards the gutter, so it makes it harder if you get your ball there. If your ball's not reading the pattern the right way and it's going towards the gutter, it has a hard time hooking and making it back up that hill.
We've seen that a lot. So that's a topography thing.
Yeah, that's a topography thing. Yeah. So that's what makes short patterns pretty hard here at Northrock. Because typically on a short pattern, you want to play closer to the gutter, and it's really hard to do that here because you're kind of trying to get the ball to hook up a slope the whole way down the lane.
Yeah, I noticed that the first game I was surprised because a lot of bowlers had already immediately jumped in, and I'm like, wow, that was quick on a short pattern. But that makes sense if there's that gutter. If the gutter doesn't play, and the gutter doesn't play at some houses just naturally.
Yeah.
So
that's probably a combination of things. I think generally people aren't very comfortable being super close to the gutter.
Totally.
So they'll go as far. They'll go right, but they'll stay as far left as they possibly can. And with a topography like this, I think it allows them to play the track a little bit better.
I'd agree. So, Frankie, what's next? What's next for you? Because it's kind of the off season, right? A little bit.
It is the off season. So there's I've managed to fill my time pretty well. It wasn't looking like there was going to be a lot from September to December.
Yeah.
I've managed to do pretty well. I'm here all weekend, obviously.
Yes.
And then in 2 weeks, there's a big tournament here at Northrock, actually, called the Swiss Trios.
Oh, nice.
Big event. So three people teams, and you bowl. It's a Swiss style, so you're bowling matches across from each other, and they reseed every single game. So total pinfall doesn't really matter. You just want to win your games, and it makes for a pretty exciting environment. That's a fun tournament, and I haven't bowled it in a few years, so I'm excited to get back to it.
That's great.
Then we've got some regionals, and in October I'll be going to Costa Rica for the La Raza tournament. So that'll be exciting. It'll be my first time in Costa Rica.
I've heard good things about that tournament.
Yeah, I heard it's a lot of fun. They take good care of the bowlers there for sure.
Yeah.
And then at the end of October, I've booked some clinics up in Vancouver in Canada, so it'll be nice to go back. It's not home. It's the complete other side of the country, but it'll be nice to go back to Canada.
Is that the first time you'll go back since the pandemic, or have you made it up to see your family and stuff?
No, I went back earlier this year.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I went back in April of this year. April or May, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the first time since the start of the pandemic. So
it's a long time.
Yeah. Before that, I think Christmas of 2019 was the last time I was home.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's hard.
Travel was tricky for a while there, especially with Canada and the U.S. The border was closed, and it was really tough.
I don't want to interrupt you, but Sebastian Huffman here, and I just jinxed him because I started talking about him too early. 234 for Mr. Seabass, as they call him, from Las Vegas. So carry on.
Yeah. And then the big thing will be the World Cup in November. We haven't selected our team yet that's going to go there, but I'm hoping I'll be on that team and try to make a run at a couple of medals in Australia. That would be fun.
That'll be awesome. Yeah. Wow, you have filled your time. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Then, like I said, before all those tournaments came up, it wasn't looking like there was going to be much to bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, and then hopefully, I'm sure the PBA will announce their season. Usually it comes around November, December time period, maybe a little earlier, but hopefully you guys will be back out there next year.
Yeah, hopefully. Should start early January like it has the past couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm always hoping for earlier rather than later for them announcing the schedule. We never know.
So you can book some travel,
right? So we can plan for travel and stuff. And I saw the Masters has already been announced. That's going to be at Thunder Bowl in Detroit.
Nice. Oh, that'll be great.
That's a fun place to bowl in.
Yeah, and you get a lot of fans there, too.
Yeah.
That's fun. All right, I think that's Charlie. I could be totally wrong, but he shot 202. I'm going to try to figure out what Oh, here it is. Okay, so that was Charlie Hunter, shot 202, and Trey Henrichmeyer, probably messed that up, but Trey is finishing out a great game here. Can go out for 279. I don't think he'll be mad about that.
No. I don't think I've ever been mad about a 279.
Yeah, no. Even if you thought you should have 300 in a tournament setting, you're never mad about 279.
Yeah, it's a lot of plus.
Yeah, I think it seems to be that the scores are getting relatively higher. I see a 240 down there. I didn't see very many high scores to begin with, but it does look like bowlers are figuring them out.
Yeah, you typically see that towards the end of a short pattern. As people bowl on it, especially with urethane, the pattern stretches. So what started out as being 38 feet, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what started out as 38 feet in that track area where everybody's bowling slowly stretches and ends up to be 40, 42, 43 feet. So now people are able to have a little hold that they didn't have earlier on in the block, and that usually, when you've got hold left of you, that usually makes the scores go up.
Yeah, and that's what everyone's always chasing, is the hold.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Hold left and hook right.
Shot by Josh. Nice shot on lane 16. Anthony Hornick. He's quite the awesome youth bowler. Bowled a lot. Has a lot of experience and success in many youth tournaments.
Do we know how many of these kids here are members of Junior Team USA?
You know, that is a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I could look it up in the break, though. That would be a fun fact. I know there's quite a few, though, because I know we have Gianna Brandolino. You know what? She might not be a member this year. I say that, and I don't think she's a member. We have Keegan Alexander, though. We have... What else do we have? I'll have to look it up in the break, because I don't want to misspeak, because it changes so frequently with the kids. Like, especially since, I don't know if Team Canada does this, but the USA started doing the developmental team, too.
Yeah, we actually don't have that, but I know they're doing that, so they have different age groups on Team USA.
Yeah, so it's not just the junior team now. Now there's the developmental team, which is anyone under the age of 15, I believe. Because we have the U12 division at Junior Gold, so those kids are on the developmental team.
Sure, okay.
So it's hard to keep track. It really. These kids are, like you said earlier, though. Each time it's just kind of incredible. The talent almost, it shocks you, but you shouldn't be shocked anymore because it's just consistent. It just bodes well for more PBA bowlers, though, because a lot of these kids want to go out on tour when they graduate.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I like these patterns that you guys chose too.
You know,
you've got 3 different lengths. They're not ridiculously difficult.
Yeah, so we work with Kegel. Kegel's a sponsor to SYC, and they create the patterns. And what we tell them is, you know, sometimes we hear from bowlers, like, some of the elite players might look at these and go, they're too easy. That's what we hear. And sometimes we have to remind them, like, hey, you don't know how the center is going to play. And B, there are bowlers here that are bowling in their very first tournament ever.
Right.
So you don't want to make them so hard, like, and super flat, and you want to make it challenging, more challenging than a house shot, but not ridiculous either. So we're kind of we're trying to work on the...
Yeah, so you've got 38 feet, 42 feet, and 46 feet. All of them are, looks like between 3.7 and 4 to 1.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable enough for a tournament like this. Then you've got the people that are really going to figure them out and match up to the patterns are going to bowl well. There's going to be some high scores. Right. We already saw a 298 earlier. That was pretty impressive.
Pretty cool, right?
Was that in the U12 category?
It was in the U12, yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, little Miles Gordon. He had 21 strikes in a row, too.
Wow.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, just to start your day with 21 strikes, because it was game 2, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then the people that are going to win are going to be the people that figured it out the best. There's not going to be that luck factor. When you make them so hard that luck becomes a factor into who wins, I don't think that's not ever good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've watched some unfortunate breaks that end up making someone win, and no one likes that. Because if you're like, the SYC was designed to reward consistency across 3 blocks, 3 different patterns, 15 games. We want the bowler that, and there's no match play in any year. So truly, the person that knocks down the most pins wins.
Right.
And Gary and Leanne kind of created the format, and I think it's great. And how many times have you watched a bowler be bowling in the finals? They led a tournament by 400 pins.
Yeah.
And they lose in a 1-game match.
Yep.
That's on a different pair that sometimes is in a different building. Like, there's just so many things that can happen in match play. So there's so many tournaments out there, and there's nothing wrong with match play. Like, honestly, when I bowl tournaments as an amateur, because that's what I am, sometimes I like match play because I think anyone can win in a 1-game match. But there's so many formats out there that have match play. Why not give the kids something that is just
Absolutely.
straight 15 games?
Absolutely. A total pinfall tournament is always going to be the best format to determine a true winner. The rest is usually to make things more exciting for people watching, for TV. Match play's great if you qualify 16th, and a total pinfall event is great if you're leading.
Yeah, totally. We just saw Josh Mislanich up there. He just bowled a double. Josh is a senior. I was talking to his dad the other day. He's starting to enter the either exciting or dreaded recruitment process.
Yeah.
I think it's a little of both. We were just talking to Billy a lot about that, and it's stressful. And you went through that process.
A little bit, yeah. I didn't shop around too much for too many schools.
Kind of knew you wanted to go.
Yeah, for me it was. I got my first experience with real high level competition at the World Youth Championships in 2010 in Finland, and I won a bronze. Was fortunate enough to win a bronze medal there, and that just kind of lit the spark for me. So I think I was 16 at the time, and I started looking into colleges in the U.S. I knew of a couple of Canadians that had come down to the States, and most of them that I knew had come down to Wichita State. So
nice.
For me, it was almost a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I knew at the time they were the best bowlers in Canada, and that's really what my experience was. I would watch the PBA on TV when I was younger, but my experience was watching other bowlers in Canada, and those were the best. So I thought, if I want to be the best, I'm going to go to the same place they went.
Yeah.
So we started talking with Wichita State and the coaching staff, and eventually started talking to admissions. And our schooling system's it's structured a little bit differently back home, so I had to stay home for an extra year because we graduate at 17 from high school.
Oh, okay.
Or secondary school, and I had to stay home for an extra year, and did sort of took some college classes in that year. Again, just structured differently, but came over here when I was 18, and I just briefly looked at a couple of other colleges, but I always kind of knew this is where I wanted to come.
Yeah, makes sense. It is a little tougher. I think bowlers in the U.S., they get to see coaches, they get to see colleges. The cool thing about the SYC is even if you have a younger youth bowler, there were 13-year-olds taking tours last night at Wichita State, so that's really cool. Like, when you're that young, you're not really thinking, oh, I'm going to go here. You're just trying to open your eyes to, what is college like? So, there are some international bowlers that have come over and chose to compete collegiately, which I think is awesome. And I think that's another cool aspect of college bowling because some of your teammates may not be from the U.S. So not only are they from other states, but you're meeting bowlers that have a completely different cultural experience
Yeah, all of a sudden you go from most of your life being probably in the town you grew up in to now you're teammates with people from all around the world. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It certainly broadens your horizons, opens your mind a little bit too.
Yeah. And I think the coaches, I know the coaches that I know that have very international programs or that have a lot of recruitment that way. They do embrace that, which I think is awesome. Yeah. Like showcasing, not only do we have bowlers, just embracing, like, learn other cultures and learn, like, what foods do you like and that kind of stuff. So it's cool.
Absolutely.
Just another fun part of going to college.
Yeah, we always had a Thanksgiving party here that we do with the program with the bowling team.
And, that's cool.
The international students would usually try to cook up something from their culture to bring to the Thanksgiving party. So we'd have kind of like an international potluck for American Thanksgiving.
That's fantastic. I love that. That's a really cool tradition. Mr. Xavier striking a bunch, double. He was a pool shark last night.
Was he?
Oh, yeah, he was playing pool. I saw him. Beating his mom up a little bit. Although she told me that she needed... pool was like the one thing that she could beat him at still.
Oh, yeah?
Because it wasn't bowling.
Yeah, I think a lot of these kids are probably getting to that point where if their parents are bowlers, they're probably beating them, even though the parents might not like it.
Yeah. To our left, he just left an unfortunate spare, but on lane 16 we do see Dimitri Richardson. He just picked up his first SYC title last month in Idaho. Great young bowler from Colorado. And
Very
converts
nice.
the spare.
Yeah.
No problem.
Trying to go back to back here.
Yeah. Don't you wish there were SYCs when you were younger?
I wish there was anything like this when I was younger. I grew up in Canada, so we don't have as many bowlers.
Yeah.
Everything was a lot smaller. Whenever I see youth bowling here, I see the turnouts at the SYCs, the turnouts at Junior Gold now.
It's insane, right?
It's crazy to me because we didn't have anything like that. We had our only national championship you have to qualify through, and so there's only one boy and one girl from each of the 10 provinces in each age division that makes the national final. So we never have a big tournament like this.
Sure.
When you make the national final, there's only 4 age groups, so there's 8 bowlers per province that show up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's small.
Yeah, it is small, but it's really hard to get into.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was from the bulk of the bowling population is in Quebec and Ontario, back in Canada. So Montreal, Toronto, that's where the 2 biggest cities and
Sure.
that's where most of the bowlers are. So our 2 provinces were always the 2 most competitive. Alberta and British Columbia they had some good talent too, but it was oftentimes similar bowlers that would come out of there because they have less bowlers, and so if one bowler is really good, they'll qualify every year. I actually never made the national final as a youth bowler.
No way.
No, I never represented my province at the
Wow.
national tournament.
Well, see, that gives everybody in the chat hope.
Yeah, that's a fun fact I like to bring up when I'm back home and I talk to youth bowlers. I say, I never made it to CYC's Canadian Youth Championships, what they call it.
And do all their like little eyes light up and go, no way? Like, yeah.
I get a lot of no ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I finished second in every age group at the provincial final.
Yeah.
But I would always lose to somebody. It was always somebody different because we had a lot of good bowlers.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing that I think, you talked about it yesterday in the seminar, and you said it very eloquently, right? Like, when you're growing up in your area, you're probably, if you're at the elite level or you're going to bowling tournaments, you're probably, if not the best, one of the best, right? And then you go to high school bowling in the U.S., you may be the best on your high school team.
Yeah.
And not everybody chooses to go to collegiate bowling, or they might not be bowling for a top tier team, right? But most of the kids that are bowling at SYCs or at Junior Gold or something like that, they're all going to end up at a college team. And then the first time you walk into that first college tournament and you look around, everybody can bowl all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute, what happened here?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember coming to Wichita State for the first time, and we started the tryout process. When I came to school here, everybody had to try out.
Yeah.
There weren't any
select teams.
Guaranteed spots on teams.
Right.
Everybody had to go through the tryout process. It's 3 weeks of just impossible patterns that the coaches make up.
I saw those patterns last night. They were hanging. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they just finished the first week. That was the odd lanes had one pattern and the even lanes had one pattern, but they're just ridiculous patterns.
They're impossible.
And the second week, there's 8 lanes at the lanes on campus. So the second week, there's 8 different patterns. Every lane is different. So you bowl 4 games per block. And the third week, I can't remember how they're doing it now. I think they've changed a little bit, but there's a lot of variety in the patterns, and they make them really hard because they want to see. I think the main thing that they look for at Wichita State is who's got the mental toughness to grind through all that. Because you're not going to strike a lot.
No,
I think
yeah.
when I came to school, I think the stat was through the tryout process, through the years, I think 2 people had average 200. And it was just above 200. So you're not going to strike.
No.
Who can shoot spares and who can have the mental toughness to grind through those 3 weeks? Because it's a long time. You're going to school in the morning, you've got your homework, and then you're trying out every afternoon and ripping your hair out of your head. And yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that you talk about mental toughness, and you talked a lot about it yesterday, which we were talking about earlier. But Billy Murphy, when he was just in, we were talking about when coaches come to watch bowlers bowl at tournaments. Like, if a coach was watching a kid bowl this weekend or at Junior Gold, and a lot of times the youth bowlers panic if they're having a bad game or they had a bad block when the coach was watching. And Billy said, he goes, I can't tell you how many bowlers come in and sit down and tell me you watched the worst block I had.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he goes, I don't even know what your score was.
Yeah.
Like, he's not watching that.
Yeah.
They're watching your attitude. They're watching how you handle yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching, how do you get to the line? All of those things are what's important to them. So
yeah, as bowlers we get caught up a lot in the results because, well, we are judged on those results, right?
Sure.
I think that's how they rank us at the end of the tournament. So it does matter, but from the perspective of a college coach, I can see how that would be way different. You're not looking for someone that's going to shoot 1,300 today on the short pattern.
No.
That's not what you're after.
No.
And I think the panicking, I think it's normal with the younger bowlers, because again you get caught up in the results and you want to do well all the time. I think a lot of young kids at this level are really hard on themselves. They're really competitive and they always want to do well. So
totally, yeah.
I think the only thing I would say to that is just the more you prepare, the more you practice, the more you get ready for an event, the more confident you'll be in your ability to bounce back from one of those bad games. And so it might not be the end of the world if you know you've worked hard and you're bowling well, you're throwing the ball physically well. Preparation, I think, is the best answer to feeling that way, to panicking when things start not going so well. If you know physically I'm bowling well, that's how it is for me at least. If I know that I'm bowling well and I'm having a bad game, it's easier to put it to the side and say I'm just going to bounce back next game. I'm going to keep throwing one good shot at a time and figure it out from there.
I think that's great advice. If bowlers aren't listening to that or aren't doing that now, they should.
They're all out there bowling.
Well, they replay. They watch their game back. I'm showcasing 15 and 16 for a little bit, and then I'll go back to 17 and 18 because 17 and 18 is a little ahead. We're not ESPN out here. Hey, I wish we were, but we do the best we can with the cameras that we have. Although it looks like, so we have a bowler, the C bowler on 15. Let me see what that is. As they have a nice game going, 4 in a row to start. Looks like that may be Dawson Peterson. D-bowler on this pair, his name, on 16, who just bowled, Mr. Bennett Olson. He had, I'm sorry, that's Ryland Prokopek. He had all of the questions in the seminar yesterday. He was like, he had 4 or 5, and they were all great.
That was good. It was good.
Ryland, I think he's training to be a pro bowler. That's what I gathered from his questions.
Sounded like it. It sounded like it. We had a lot of good questions, and we didn't have to pry it off of them either.
It was absolutely. Usually the Q&As, I'm like, and especially at the beginning, they just came in with questions, which was great.
Yep.
Good job, kids. Like when I don't feel like I'm forcing you to ask questions. See if Colton can make this little split. I jinxed him. Sorry, Colton. What's your least favorite spare to shoot, if you have one?
Least favorite spare? Probably the 4.6.
The 4.6.
Never made it.
Really?
No. Never made the 4.6. The other ones, the makeable spares, you know, some of them are a little harder than others, but for the most part, if you hit your target, you'll make the spare.
Sure.
So if I miss a spare, it's usually my fault. The splits obviously are trickier, but the ones, like the 4.6, that's a tough one. Big 4 I've made, 7.10 I've made. There's a luck factor in there, obviously.
Yeah.
You got to bounce it out of the bag, but the 4.6 I never have. 2.810 actually. I'm not very good at throwing a backup ball, so I've never really tried to make it.
Yeah.
If I see the 2.810, I just know it's an open.
You're like, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. There's only a few times when I've gone for the 2.10 and just got the lucky bounce. The 2 came back and got the 8.
Good to know. There you go.
As far as makeable spares, I would say the hardest, one of the toughest ones, probably the 3.6910.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, do you? I know the PBA Tour, they've started to use Lane Talk, which kind of keeps track of your spares. Do you look at that, or?
I did keep my stats for this year, and they were a little frustrating. I remember that. Well, so I had some highs and some lows this year on tour, some good times and some bad times. So if I look at my stats, we talk about power, right? We talk about because I feel like a lot of times bowlers complain a little bit more than they maybe should.
No way.
Yeah, that's just my opinion.
Keep kicking the table. You did not kick the table. Okay, keep going.
I think bowlers complain a lot of the time, and they tend to exaggerate, especially right after a block when they're still hot. They tend to complain like, I left so many 10 pins, or I left so many splits, or hit the pocket but never struck. Never, instead of saying I only struck 40% of the time.
Yeah. The reality is not very popular.
Yeah, so if I'm looking at my Lane Talk stats from this year on tour, this is interesting. So it'll tell you, Lane Talk's a pretty cool app. If you guys want to check that out, you get to import all your stats. As long as the bowling center participates in Lane Talk, you can import all your stats.
Which it's completely free for bowling centers to participate, by the way, too. Because we work with Lane Talk a lot. And so if you want something like this back home, talk to your bowling center and they can contact Lane Talk. So keep going.
So just, I guess we'll talk about Lane Talk for a little bit. 187 games this season on tour. My high score was 288. My first ball average was 9.22. I feel like that's okay. Clean 91% of the time. And then it goes into every single pin leaves that you had. So it'll tell you like this. So my 5th most common leave, that was frustrating. My 5th most common leave was the 710.
Oh, that is very frustrating.
I left that 29 times, which is the same amount of times as I left the 3610.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't make the 710 this year. 0% spare conversion.
Dang it.
92% on the 3610. So out of 29, I probably missed 2 or 3. Then if we move, my 4th most common was a 2-pin. It's not good ball reaction. It's probably one of the tournaments I was struggling.
Right.
At 34. So I'd have 34 2-pins. Then I left 41 7-pins and 51 4-pins. That was my 2nd most common leave. I was 100% on both of those, 7-pins and 4-pins.
That's great.
And so 51 4-pins was my 2nd most common. My most common was the 10-pin, and I left that one 255 times.
Oh my gosh. This is painful.
Yeah. It hurts me to watch. Because I know I'm hitting the pocket a lot.
Yeah.
And the reason why I didn't make as many cuts is probably because of those 200 extra 10-pins I've left throughout the season.
Well, now that Frankie brought us all down, because we all care about you and want you to succeed, and well, there we go. There you have it, folks.
Yeah.
So now, bowlers that are listening, right? So some bowlers might keep their own personal stats, like in league or even in tournaments. Like I know I see a lot of families have there's a lot of apps now to do this, right? So what do you do with those results, right? Do you, now that you're in the off season, you're back to practicing, are there any things you're working on knowing that, or are you just kind of like, okay, well, I want to do better than that next year, right?
Yeah, I think what Lane Talk does is it shows you your trends. So, for example, I've left a lot of 10-pins, right? So what do I have to do? I'm gonna look for ways in my training and in the other tournaments that I bowl. I'm gonna look for ways to carry more 10-pins,
right.
Whether that's with different ball selections while I'm bowling, because a lot of times those 10-pins that I leave will come later in blocks when everyone's getting pretty far left, and a lot of times my ball doesn't necessarily continue to go through the pins down lane. So a lot of those 10-pins, there's a bunch of wrap 10s probably, but a lot of them are flat 10s with big angles from left. That's just how it's been. So I'm going to look for ways to improve on that, whether, like I said, with ball selection or with layouts, or just with lane play strategy. I'm going to try different things and see if I can't carry a couple more of those moving forward. So, like I said, I think it gives you an idea of your trends. It's fun to look at. It's fun to compete with some of the other tour players out there. Like, we're rooming with Stu and Dom and those guys.
Yeah, you guys never give each other a hard time. I
don't
see that
exactly.
happening.
Yeah, so we're looking at each other's stats and we're comparing and we're having fun with it.
I think I mean, maybe Stu has 100%, but I don't know, 100% spare percentage on any of the pins. Does Stu have 100%?
I think so. We did the 10-pin. The 10-pin was one that we looked at.
Yeah.
And I think Dom might have had the highest. He might have been at 99.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you shot 200.
Yeah, 255, and I think mine was 98.6. I think it said.
Yeah. Now, do you do like ratios? Like, do you make their 10-pin percentage reach yours, and then look at their percentage? I guess not.
The percentages are always going to be.
Okay. Yeah.
You can always compare the percentages. So whether he's shot 100, if he shot 100 and he made 99, then he's at 99%. And so I shot 255 and I'm at 98.6. So I missed a couple.
Yeah, a couple in the 200s. So yeah, it's just incredible. So, but that's, I mean, when we talk about spare shooting, that's what we mean. Like, Frankie ran through his stats and he has, I think you said your 4-pin and 7-pin were 100%, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that if you're a youth bowler, right, and just focus on getting one pin to 100%, and then get another pin to 100%, and then and how much more that would bring to just your tournaments every weekend, and then maybe, and we always talk about this at Junior Gold every year, when it's all said and done, and you go down the final standings sheets, it is pins that are separating places.
Yeah.
It's not 10 pins; it's 1 pin.
And it's a big jump because there's so many people bowling. If you get 10 more pins, 11 more pins here and there from a spare rather than a 9-0, that can move you up 30, 40 spots. Yeah. You do that a couple times throughout the event, you move up a lot.
Totally.
That's definitely the quickest way. That's what I tell people when I give lessons, especially kids. The quickest way to improve your average is to make an extra spare a game.
Yeah.
Everyone's caught up about striking all the time, and that's the goal of the game. But if you make one extra makeable spare every game, you'll easily go from 150 to 160 or 160 to 170.
Yeah, Liz Johnson was with us last month in Idaho, and we asked her in the seminar, "What's your favorite spare practice?" And she goes, "Well, I don't really do spare drills per se, but the one thing she said is she never hits the reset button."
Yeah.
So when she's practicing, she's like, the reset button you should never hit it in practice.
Yeah.
There's no reason. Like, unless you're focusing on something, like, maybe I don't know why, especially for kids, like, go for everything.
Yeah, exactly. The chances are, whether you're practicing or in competition, the spares you leave in practice are the same spares you're going to leave in competition.
Yeah.
So just go for them.
Yeah.
Just shoot them all. That was one of our rules at school in Wichita. If the coaches ever saw you hit the reset button for a spare, you'd be in trouble. There were some reps coming your way. You had to do some jumping jacks or some push-ups.
I like that there was we were down at campus last night, and a couple of the students are great, by the way. They're helping us this weekend. There's our score runners this weekend, and they helped us with the cornhole boards. But one of the bowlers told me he didn't know a rule yet, and there's apparently a rule that you can't leave single balls in the locker just because it gets messy and everything. And he didn't know that.
Yeah.
And to learn the rule, you did have some reps. You had a couple push-ups.
Yeah.
A couple.
Yeah, they always call it a win-win. I'm not sure the students feel that way when they get assigned the reps. The coaches call it a win-win. You get stronger and you're learning a new rule, or
you'll never forget it. That's what Coach Lewis said. He's like, "You're never gonna forget that rule, are you?" He goes, "No, sir."
Yeah, my very first. So we sign up for individual lessons with the coaches, and this was my freshman year. My very first team meeting. We just finished tryouts, so I made the team, and we're signing up for. They're giving us the schedule for the semester, and we're signing up for individual lessons. 2-on-1s they call them. Usually there's two of us with one coach.
Yeah.
So this is outside of team practice, an extra hour of time that we have to work on our physical game with the coach. So I set my time, and it was early morning. I think it was 9 o'clock, which is when I think the bowling center opens at school. So 9 a.m. first thing in the morning, and I guess I didn't look at my schedule the right way, my class schedule, because I was taking Spanish, I think, from 8 to 9, or 8 to 9:15 maybe. And so I went to class that first day, and it was the very first lesson that I had with the coach, my freshman year, very first lesson. So my class ended at 9:15, but my 2-on-1 was supposed to start at 9. So I showed up, and I was 25 minutes late walking from class to the bowling center, and I said, "I'm sorry. I guess I didn't look at my schedule the right way." And then he said, "That's all right. You can start doing some jumping jacks." And that's what I did for the remainder of that hour. I just did jumping jacks for probably 35 to 40 minutes straight. That was all I did. So at the end, coach came up to me and said, let's reschedule that for a time that sounds better for you. And that was it. That was my very first individual lesson with Coach Lewis.
That's awesome.
40 minutes of jumping jacks.
Oh, man. But it is a win-win, like, athletically. 40 minutes of jumping jacks is great for your endurance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's brutal. All right, on lane 18, Declan Mitchell is finishing up his game here before the break. This is the final game before the break. The bowlers will come back again and bowl at about 2 o'clock. I'm sorry, 2:30 is when it starts in the afternoon. See Mr. Dimitri Richardson. He's having a very up and down game on lanes 15 and 16. He had one unfortunate split. And that's his only open, but it was just a bad, oh, I'm sorry, there were back-to-back opens there. So he had a split and then another, maybe split? I can't tell if there's a box around that 8 or not.
I can't see it from here.
Yeah.
Need glasses.
I thought
I could make it to 30 without glasses.
I hit 29. That's when I.
That's where I'm at.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know where I figured it out was South Point. When I couldn't read the giant screens in South Point, I'm like, all right, I'm going to the eye doctor. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not that bad yet, but the way I figured it out was on road trips because we spent so much time on the road.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I was always the one that could read the street signs the furthest. So if something was coming up, I was able to read everything from super far away. And lately, there's things that I struggle to see, and other people are reading them now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that probably means my eyesight's getting worse.
Maybe it would help with the 10-pin situation.
It might help with the 10-pin situation, yeah. I know Bill O'Neill started bowling well again once he got glasses a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He showed up with glasses on, and he's had a couple of really good seasons.
I'll tell you that anyone that wears glasses, they can chime in. But I was really worried when I got glasses. I was 29. I got glasses, and it was a couple years ago. And I'm like, how am I going to bowl? Like, I have to wear them because I wear them for distance now.
Yeah.
And the first time, I'm like, and everyone was like, the first time's weird. But it wasn't weird, and it was better. And I'm like, okay, I should have been wearing these a while ago.
You could just see more clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have to give it a try. I have to get an eye test, and I have to get some glasses and see how it goes. It doesn't affect me on the lanes so much.
Yeah.
Nothing's that blurry.
Right.
Just the fine print up there on the scoring monitor is a little trickier.
Yeah. Yeah, age sucks.
Just, another sign of aging.
Yeah. It's all right, though. With all the technology, going to the eye doctor is cool now. Ours has a lot of technology in it, and they have this, like, machine that shows you, like, a tractor, and then it, like, it's amazing. They don't even have to dilate your eyes anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
I did go to the optometrist a couple of years ago. The first summer of COVID, I was playing tennis with a buddy, and I took a ball straight to the eyeball.
Oh, jeez.
I was up at the net, tried to go for a volley, and I framed it, and it didn't hit my eyebrow or my nose. It was straight to the eyeball.
Jeez.
So my eye was swollen and red for a couple days. So I went to the optometrist to see if there was a tear in the retina or anything.
Yeah.
And they ran some tests, and I do remember cheating on the eye test because I walked up to it.
Test?
Well, with both eyes open, I can see pretty well.
Yeah.
So it's clearly one eye that
that's
one
my
eye
problem.
one eye is still perfect and the other one is not as
Right.
good. So with both eyes open, I looked at the sheet with the E and then the second line and the third line, and I kind of memorized it. So yeah.
Yeah, mine's my right eye. That's my eye that is worse. All right, so look at this game by Dawson. Dawson Peterson. I think we have Jenny is cheering on Dawson.
It's a big finish.
This is a huge finish for Mr. Dawson.
Do we have standings after 4 to see where that'll put him?
So what's tricky about this is right now we have people are putting the Wichita State students are putting in scores, and it's pretty automatic. So let me see what we're looking at. Dawson is in the, I'm going to guess U18 division. I just lost my sheet. Yeah, U18 boys. So, wow, another strike, 250, very nice. So, Dawson Peterson, before this game, so Dawson has bowled games of 209, 201, 195, and he's coming off of a 165 game. So this will move him up very far in the standings because he just shot 264. Little 100-pin jump here. That's great. So he was in 36, but that'll move him way up in the standings.
Yeah.
Jaden Combs put on a little clinic today. He went 243, 278, 225, 199, 200.
Wow.
For a plus 145. Braden Longnecker, who's local to here.
Yep.
204, 247, 211, 223. And I believe he's bowling just to the right over there. And I think this is still a good game this game. Or maybe he was on 19 and 20.
I think he might have been on 23.
Okay.
23 and 24. I think he just finished.
Gotcha. All right, so that will conclude our coverage for today. For this morning, I mean, round 1. We will come back again at 2:30 p.m. local time here. We're in Central Time for the round 2. The bowlers will be bowling on the medium pattern, and we'll be back.